Have you been keeping Ray's secret from the beginning? Did you know about the parentage? Like, tell me about that journey of when you found out.
No. At the beginning, there was toying with like an Obi-Wan connection, and then it really went, there were like different versions, and then it really went to that she was no one. And then it came to episode 9, and JJ pitched me the film and was like, oh yeah, Palpatine's granddaddy. And I was like, awesome. And then 2 weeks later, he was like, oh, we're not sure. So it kept changing. So then even I was filming and I wasn't sure what the answer was going to be.
Have you been keeping Ray's secret from the beginning? Did you know about the parentage?
What the actual fuck? What?
Yeah.
Well, fuck. Let's write a trilogy. What's gonna happen? We don't know. You gonna figure it out now before you make the movies? Not really. How about before you make the second one? Not now. How about before you start making the third one? How about fucking somewhere 80% of the way through production of the third movie? Oh yeah, now we fucking know what this is about. This is like the most crucial fucking detail. They're trying to make, it's like you cannot retroactively make a movie about something the movie was never about. This is why this trilogy sucked. This is why it fucking failed, because you got to Rise of Skywalker thinking, oh, look how cool and clever we are. She's a Palpatine. Woohoo. No, because now you're trying to fucking retcon the past 2 movies that you just fucking made to make them make sense with this new brilliant mystery box idea you just came up with 3 fucking weeks into filming or some shit. And you're trying to peddle this to us like this was the plan all along. Fuck you. We're not idiots. We're not retarded. We know. We're not morons. We also, unlike, maybe this is why there's this push to erase history now, is so y'all can keep peddling us this bullshit. Actually, we don't fucking remember what happened 5 years ago. This is not the weird prequel to original trilogy split where everyone's forgotten what a Jedi was in 20 years. This is the real goddamn world, and we have memories, and we have minds, and we don't appreciate being treated like we're just cattle that you can force feed whatever you want to until we fucking die. Welcome to the Matriarchy, everybody. I'm joined, as always, by Anna, that Star Wars girl.
So people clip that because that's Jesse's actual reaction, because she was not aware that this clip existed. So everyone, you just got a live reaction to the news that, and well, we all knew, but the confirmation that everything the Fandom Menace has been saying for years was 100% spot on.
You didn't have a goddamn plan. You didn't know what the fuck you were doing. It was a goddamn mess of egos trying to get their way and all that shit. And that is exactly right. That was 100% my first reaction. She played me the clip. I was ready to explode. I was like, you know what? We're going live. I'm playing this clip first thing and then going into it. So, fuck. What the actual fuck? Why does this exist?
Well, I'm just, so, you know, I tweeted this and then people were like saying, oh yeah, she's under contract. And well, I'm like, yeah, of course. And this is another thing I've been saying. I'm like, they all were under contract. They all were, you know, they said, hey, you know, whenever you get any kind of job, you sign an NDA. And so you can't talk about it until the NDA expires. And sometimes it never expires. But obviously something is going on to where she can now talk about it because the trilogy is over, which probably means her contract is over as well. And also you can tell by her, the way that she kind of says this, is she has no idea what she's saying is going to be controversial. Absolutely no idea.
She's so earnest. It's so fucking adorable. She's like, yep, you're asking me a question. I'm just answering your question. And it's just so earnest with all of it. And that's like, it's so guileless. That makes me actually like her. Like watching something like that actually makes me like her a little more. Cause I'm like, you poor dear, you were just strung along for this ride. And that kind of makes me feel for her more when we talk about what we, talked about before. We were all talking about last week with her, like, I can't get new jobs. And like, you fucking can, bitch, shut up. But at the same time, I feel for the fact that she went through, this incredible filming experience and graduated and finished it, completed it with no reel whatsoever. I mean, you want to go like, you go back to Dark Knight, right? Everyone knows about how Heath Ledger, got way too method with the character, and that's part of what messed him up. And that people think that's why he died, because he couldn't sleep and he was taking all these extra drugs and blah, 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 whatever. So we all know that story, right? when I look at that, I'm like, as someone who's method, who's into that stuff, part of his character is all of his origin stories. How did I get this way? How did I get these scars? He tells the story, 2-3 times in the movie. Every time it's different. When you're an actor, when you're playing this character, when you're living this character and trying to be them and bring it to life on stage, you know the answer to that. You know, that's why, like, I mean, you even if it's not what's happened, that's why I think, what actor said this recently and people made a big fucking deal about it? Maybe was it Kylo Ren, or where Adam Driver was like, I know what happened to Kylo Ren to make him this way and whatnot, like it exists in my mind or whatnot. And everyone's like, oh, he has the answers. And it's like, no, he doesn't have any fucking answers. He's just a good goddamn actor who's like, I wasn't given a backstory, so I created a backstory.
Well, even Mark Hamill said that. He before The Last Jedi came out, and one of the warning signs, I found this one video that clipped every single interview talk that Mark Hamill did where he was trying to warn us. And so one of the things he says, and Kathleen Kennedy stops him in the middle of, like, I think it's a con panel, and he's like, well, obviously, like, this stuff isn't given, this information is given as an actor, you try to make up a story so that way you yourself can act it and portray this character. And then she stopped it and she's like, I just want everyone to know he is so vital and important to this movie. And he was just kind of saying, like, basically, you guys didn't give me a fucking backstory that made sense, so I had to make up one myself. And that is a thing that a lot of actors do. People even do it as they're reading a book. Like, you're reading a book and you're trying to find out this character story, and obviously you're not going to know everything until the very end. So it's like you kind of make up things while you go along, and then that's what amazes you when a new revelation happens. Like, oh shit, that either was exactly what I thought, which, makes you happy because it's like, oh yeah, I was right because people like being right, or it subverted expectations in a good way, and so a person's like, wow, I didn't see that coming, that's even better than what I thought, and then they keep reading.
Well, that's the whole thing. That's people, like, that's what was such bullshit, the way that the Star Wars directors treated the fans. Speculation. Fans are like, what the fuck is wrong with you people? The entire reason you leave an open-ended question at the end of a movie that you know you're going to answer in later iterations is so fans can have fun speculating. And so all this business of everyone coming out and shitting on, like, no, you're wrong, this theory's wrong. Like, Abrams wanted to sit here and taunt the fans of, like, you don't know race parity. Fuck you, neither do you. Because none of you guys can agree on shit. Because Abrams decided one thing, you fucked that in the ass, so Abrams decided something fucking totally different. And no, you guys were just guessing as much as we fucking were, and our theories were all goddamn better than yours were anyway. But it's so funny, you go back to Rian Johnson with this whole, like, your Snoke theory sucks. No, asshole, your Snoke theory sucks. Because guess what? It's just that. It's a fucking theory. All your stupid ass ideas that you put forth in The Last Jedi was just your theory, your dumbass, fucking childish, immature, high school, I'm so avant-garde, I'm such a rebel fucking theory of, like, well, all your theories make sense. I'm gonna pick the ones that suck and don't make sense just to prove that I'm so clever. No, fucking asshole, your theory fucking sucks, you round-headed piece of shit. You giant fucking stinking sentient turd. Barely sentient. Punctuated by chip pancake breaking things in the kitchen.
And then everyone, we have over 70 people here. Can everyone please smash the like button? We are at 42 likes. Let's get it up. Let's get it up, everyone. And then please make sure that you share this. The notification system on YouTube is royally fucked in the ass, and we're fighting against that. I actually got into it with YouTube on Twitter because they try. Okay, I 100% think now a bot runs their YouTube Twitter account, because the way that they used to respond was an actual person. Now it's the most idiotic responses. Somebody was like, hey, there's more sex bots, and your system isn't flagging it, and they're like, oh, update your app. And I even responded, like, it has nothing to do with his app or what he's on, it's your back-end engineering.
Are you seeing, like, more like porn spam shit come up?
Yes.
With one person, these comments, and even on, like, Shit Pancakes videos too, where it's just like, a timestamp and, like, fucking something with the word girls in it.
Yeah. Or like a spam bot where it's like, hi there, how are you? I love you. And it's like a porn person.
Exactly. You're like, what?
Yes, everyone, please smash the like button. We're at 55. We got 81 people in here. Everyone, please smash the like button and please share this on social media. It'll really help out get traction on this live stream and also on Jessie's channel because we need to get Jessie up to 30,000. She's at 28,000. So let's get her up there.
Been stuck there for way too effing long. Also, guys, I just want to remind you too with shares. Some people would think like I would share it, but no one follows me. YouTube knows when you share a link to a video, it helps the algorithm. So even if you don't think you have people, who don't have a ton of followers on Twitter, or don't think people, are going to click or that it's going to help, it still does help, right? So don't worry. Don't feel like I can't help you because I don't have anyone to send it to. Just the share itself, all of those metrics go into the YouTube algorithm. Oh, people are sharing this video. They must be interested in it. Let's try propagating it on YouTube and see if people are interested in it over here too. So that's the logic of the algorithm so far as we know. But thank you guys for being here. Thank you for pressing the like button. Those are right up. And I want to hit the super chats. I know we had a few come in before we even got started. So if you've been waiting for a long time to have these read. Mr. Another says, sorry I can't stay. Hope this helps a little. Stuff YouTube posts make me laugh some. It helps coping with grief. Thank you. Well, I'm glad we can make you laugh, Mr. Another. And I hope that we continue to do so. And Bobby James, thank you for the super chat. He sends a fist bump. And we got, they're rock and rolling it now. So let's see if we can catch up here quickly. Greg Kirby says, notice J.J. Abrams only remakes movies. Hi, ladies. What's up, Greg Kirby? Good to see you. Hope you had a lovely sleepover with Cynthia last night.
I would say he didn't remake, what was that stupid movie with the kids that was with the alien? I hated that movie with the burning passion. He didn't remake that, but he creepily sexualized Elle Fanning when she was like 11.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, that was very strange for me. But yeah, and that was his original thing, and it was supposed to be his big, like, this was a story of his childhood and him using it in a movie with all the things that he loved, and it was shit, and nobody remembers it because he's not Steven Spielberg. He is the worst fucking knockoff. But the thing about J.J. Abrams is that he knows as a director how to work with special effect teams to make things look shiny and cool, and it's kind of like when you go maybe to like the dollar store and you get something that is like it suits the purpose, but then it deteriorates over time as, like, let's say you go on 4th of July or maybe Christmas. Okay, Christmas, you go and get like a Christmas wreath, but instead of going to Target, you go to the 99-cent store and you get a Christmas wreath, and it suits the purpose for whatever you're doing at that time, but then the next year it looks like absolute shit and it's deteriorated. Whereas the one you got from Target, because you spent $20 instead of 99 cents, it actually lasts a few years. That's J.J. Abrams.
That's a great way to describe it. That's a great way to describe Super 8 too. It's like, yeah, it happened. It was fine. And nobody cares anymore. Literally nobody ever talks about that movie. Nobody cares about it. You can't even remember what it was called. Like, it was his big whole, like, oh man, my awesome movie and this and that. And fucking, it was fine. And nobody cares anymore.
Oh my God, somebody's right. Yeah, it is kind of like E.T., but not like E.T. And
it's like poor man's E.T.,
Okay, yeah. So he's still okay. Yeah, you're right. I never even thought of that because they're so different. But you're basically right.
It's like Abrams is to Spielberg what Super 8 is to E.T. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Fucking ugh. Anyway, Dakari Garvin, thank you for this super chat. Hail the Matriarchy. I hope the gracious God Empress Jessie and the All-Star Anna are safe and happy. I also hope you both keep your spirits bright. Thank you. Have either or both of you thought about making a book? What
yes,
kind of book?
I am in the process of so I've talked about this a lot. I'm actually going to be making an art book, and then I am going to be making a comic book, and I've talked about it a bit. I just don't want to give away too many details. But so yeah, I'm planning on releasing an art book on Indiegogo later this year that will be fulfilled next year. And so that way I can kind of learn the ordering the book, what type of book, how that process is, and then the shipping and everything. So that way when I do the comic book, I already have that all in mind and I know how to do it. So it's not my first rodeo. But the art book is something I already have all of this art done. And it's kind of a good way to kind of let everyone inside my mind. And then there will be, if we meet certain stretch goals, there'll be a teaser for my comic book in there. And then I think Jesse's got something in the works.
I'm actually working on a children's book right now that Jeff is going to illustrate. And actually, I was going to ask you to color it when we get around to it. It'll be a simple job. You know, doesn't need to be. Stop! What did he just break? Hold on. Sorry, my cat just broke some things. Thank you. Sorry. What is he doing?
Where is he?
I don't know. But
what the fuck are you doing?
What broke? Something broke for sure.
No, what happened was empty can fell.
Oh, okay. The clatter. Oh, thank God. Didn't we bring it over here?
You gotta show. You gotta show.
I'm lost. It might try to check the base over there. If not, there's some empty ones. If you find the lid for them, you just fill them up. Once you take the thing off.
Well, Jess, I would actually suggest for a colorist. I'm not particularly good with digital. Well, I am. It just takes me a lot longer. But I would recommend Sav. She's really good.
Well, we'll talk more when the
okay, no problem.
Time comes. But I am working on a children's book that Jeff is going to be illustrating and co-writing as well. So, so good question and thank you. Bobby Jimes asks another good question. Have you ever gotten into a character where you lost yourself? You're an actress, so you must know. Feel sorry for our buddy Keith. So do I. Actually, kind of. Didn't lose myself per se, but it was actually during a scene study class in college where we did the same scene for like half of the semester. So you worked it every single week and you came in, you had to rehearse it and all that. And I was doing a scene from the play Proof. It's a really interesting play. It's about, what's his face? John Nash, the guy from Beautiful Mind, the Beautiful Mind's based on. It's based around him and but this is all about like this. It's a fictionalized sort of idea of him where he has this daughter who is gifted with his mathematic ability, but she's worried that she's also got, the schizophrenia. And so it's this whole thing where like the basic premise is just these three characters are the core characters. It's one of the mathematician's old students. The mathematician's kind of, retired at this point because he's not together enough to do stuff. Or I think he just retired or whatever it was. Maybe he just died actually. Actually, no, that's what it is. The dad's not even in the play. He just died. You see him in flashbacks. And they're going through this. This was one of the guys who came over to go through his stuff to see what was important and what wasn't. And he discovers this proof, this incredible mathematical proof. And it turns out the whole time it was the daughter who actually came up with it. And she just doesn't want to tell him because she doesn't want to own this. And whatever. So the ending happens and it's sort of her having to reconcile having this fight with this guy that they ultimately reconcile, but then also reconciling her relationship with her dad and all this shit. And long story short, at the time that I was doing this, there were certain elements of the scene that were hitting very close to home. And it did fuck with my mental health for a semester. It actually it made me more depressed. I had for the rest, I had a specific outfit that I wore, that was a big part of getting into character too. It was like you come in for the scene, you have your costume, and it was just sort of a hoodie with sweatpants. But I actually couldn't wear that outfit together for about a year or two after it because it would just make me feel depressed. Prepping for the scene made me more depressed and whatnot. And then I started to realize that I would inadvertently start fights with the guy I was seeing at the time. If we were on good terms, we fought a lot. But if we happened to be on good terms and I knew I was doing the scene the next day, I would inadvertently start fights with him, because it would help me get into character better. Not realizing I was doing that, but just realizing that I was like looking for that tension to mirror the way it was in the scene. So I have had a sort of related experience. Interesting question. But yeah, that's what I was saying about Daisy Ridley. It fucking sucks for her because she's sitting here and like, okay, so when she's first given the Force Awakens, it's like, all right, so you have this important lineage. You're connected to the Kenobis, whatever, however that was going to go. You're Obi-Wan's daughter and all this stuff. And okay, so you're relevant. You're this. And so you get into this character and you play this character a certain way with a certain idea in your head. And you come on to set for the next movie. You find out all the shit you thought you knew about this character is totally fucking wrong. All right, now you got to go pick it. Oh, you're no one now. Okay, I'm going to play this whole movie as if I come from absolutely nothing. And this whole big surprise twist and whatnot. Great. And then you get fucking blindsided coming to the next one. You're on set and you're like, okay, I'm a pal Palpatine, and then you're like, wait, hold on, we're actually not sure if we're gonna. Like, what the fuck is my backstory? As an actor, you need that information. Like, that's critically important. That's like when you show up for a job, there's the job description and there's like the job training, right? You know, getting the information about your character is critical parts of job training for an actor. Yeah, your job description is read these words, learn these words, come perform them. But the supplementary material, like things about your character, the director's vision, how this character works in the world, elements about their backstory that you may not have been privy to are crucial information, are all pieces of crucial information when you're building a character. So learning this makes me more inclined to give Daisy Ridley the benefit of the doubt and say she could be a perfectly talented actress that we just haven't seen enough from because she got fucking dicked around this whole time. She's sitting here trying to like, oh God, I have this huge important character to play. I need to, be honest to the truth of this character, when the reality is there's no fucking truth to this character. Everyone's just making it up as they go along. So it sucks for her too, just as much as it sucks for the rest of us. Anyway, that's all. Lost Jedi 22 says, are you saying they don't love me? I'm crushed. No, they don't. The people who make Star Wars movies don't love you even a little bit. Sorry, not that sorry. It's just how it is. Madness Productions, hail the Fandom Menace, hail the Matriarchy. Classic, Jesse. Love it. Thank you. Thank you so much. And Hawkins History Corner says, so apparently Mulan is trash. I'm not surprised, but good Lord, do many scenes look terrible. Like,
oh my God, do you know what happens? Sorry.
Like, was it edited by a crackhead? Also, the slow-mo was painful. Anyway, hi, gals. Sub Hawkins History Corner.
Hello. Can I spoil something?
Oh, I don't give a shit about Mulan.
Okay, Chad, if you don't want to hear. Jesse, they give Mulan superpowers.
Oh my fucking God. This shit. How is this feminism? I'm gonna have to.
How is she's stronger than everyone because she's a superhero?
In order for her to be strong enough, she has to have magic fucking powers. The real fucking Mulan and the one in the last movie didn't have any magic fucking powers. You know what her magic power was in the Disney movie? Her fucking brain. What a novel goddamn concept. Right? A female character whose power comes from the fact that she's fucking smart. Try that one on for feminism. It's not that fucking hard.
Yep. Remember, I'll make a man out of you. She wasn't as strong as all the men because guess what, psycho feminist? That's usually the fucking case. She's not as smart or as strong as them. But guess what? She's fucking smart. How does she get the arrow? She uses her fucking brain, and she's the only one that's able to climb up there and achieve the goal.
When the biggest and strongest manly men couldn't do it, she could still do it. Because it's the whole point of the movie. The whole point of the movie is accept, embrace, and love your differences.
She saves everyone from the hunt by causing the avalanche. She saves the emperor. She does the thing that no man could do because she used her brain over and over again in the movie. That was her fucking superpower. That was the thing that was empowering about it. They're fucking idiots, Jesse. They're so stupid.
They're so fucking stupid. It's like they're in their quest for feminism. They're taking away the things that actually make us powerful. Like, what are you doing? What fucking, the whole point was like the original Mulan was based on true events. There was an actual female, soldier who disguised herself as a woman, and I think I don't know if she's the one who saved the emperor. I know the Huns invading China and whatnot, but the whole like cross-dressing soldier thing was based on something from reality. And I'm sure that obviously the Disney animated one took many liberties and isn't fucking true to life and shit like that. But the whole point is that it's paying homage to a real person who actually lived and did real fucking things. And they're paying homage to every woman who's done that, because that's not a new thing. There have been multiple instances throughout history where women have disguised themselves as men to go to battle, to go to fight wars, to publish works at the time where they weren't allowed to do all sorts of things like that. So it pays homage to all of the great women in actual fucking history who have done these things and made a goddamn name for themselves by just being badass, by not asking for permission, by not needing the men to move aside so they can be great. Because that's the whole fucking thing that people forget. There have been great women since the dawn of fucking time. We didn't need to dismantle the patriarchy in order to fucking shine and be amazing. People who say that, oh, I haven't been great, I haven't succeeded, I haven't reached these heights, because the patriarchy are fucking pathetic people who want excuses for why they haven't succeeded. They don't want the tools to actually succeed. And those people, because they can't face their own patheticness, feel like they have to remake the entire world in their fucking image, so the rest of us have to feel shitty about ourselves because we actually worked for something. But you didn't bother to work. I'm supposed to feel bad for you because you're crying about the shit you don't have? Go on, fucking get it for yourself like the rest of us did.
Yep. And okay, they want to try to be historically accurate. When I was in 6th grade, I had a Chinese teacher, and she explained how she didn't like the animated version of Mulan because she said it disrespected the ancestors. That's the only thing that she said, like, Chinese people have a that had an issue with. They didn't have an issue with Mushi. They didn't have an issue with the songs. She said the thing, like, she's like, I can get over it because I grew up in America, but she's like, my parents are from China, and it's like one of the things that they hold very sacred is their ancestors and being respectful of that. And she said the way that they portrayed the ancestors is what got more traditional Chinese people a little bit bothered by it. And so that I was, as a kid, I was like, I didn't see anything wrong with it, but as an adult, it's like, okay, I can kind of see, but at the same time, it's like I don't have a problem with it, so I don't have an issue with it.
Yeah.
But she actually brought in and she translated it for us because it was Chinese, and she's like, this is the actual fairy tale, or it's not a fairy tale because it's historical fiction, but she's like, this is Mulan, this is the way that it was told to us. And so Mulan, she goes into battle. It's not a big deal of her putting on the costume. She's not afraid. The way it's told in the story is she's not afraid of dying. She just did it because that was the right thing to do. Yeah. And she said back then, during this time period in China, is that the way that people dressed, especially if you're from a poorer region of China, is she's like, everyone kind of wears the same clothes. And if you're built a certain way, and she said, especially if you're working and stuff. So it's like everyone wears the same kind of things because, poor and the way that things are. And so she knew it was the right thing to do was to go fight, and she was able-bodied. So she went, nobody batted an eye. Nobody knew that she was a girl because also she said in a very nice way, she's like, the way that Chinese features are, and that's why women really painted up their faces, the geisha kind of look, even though that's more Japanese, but Chinese did it as well. She's like, if a woman wasn't dressed up, and especially if their feet weren't bound, because she's from a different region of China, in higher ups' minds, when they think of more traditional women, they think of the bound feet, the makeup, the hair, the not kimonos, because I know it's a different word in Chinese.
Yeah, I can't remember.
But they think of that. So Mulan, nobody had any idea that Mulan was a female. She just did her job, and nobody questioned her. They're like, and that's another thing is like, she said, Chinese people, especially back then, she's like, what you have to understand is they didn't really question if a woman is working in the rice fields or if a woman is doing this, because it's kind of like, if you're poor, you got to get it done. Doesn't matter who's going to do it. That's why she said, even though we weren't old enough to read it yet, but The Good Earth, she's like, that's a really good analogy for it, because in The Good Earth, the wife, the husband is kind of shocked when she goes out and she starts working in the fields next to him, because she's like, yeah, the work's got to get done. It's going to be faster if two people do it. And she's like, that's a really big thing in Chinese culture that, maybe doesn't make it over to American culture. That doesn't translate. But so in this book, at the end, after the war is won and they know that Mulan is like one of the reasons why they beat them, they're having a big dinner for all of, the head, like the generals and stuff. And so when she goes, she dresses in the traditional like female attire, and so she goes in and nobody knew that she was a woman, and they're all shocked and like, oh my god. And then the analogy that she uses, she's like, when you see two rabbits and you see one running in this way, that the female is the one that's by the hole because there's babies in there. But then when they run together, you can't tell which one is which one's the female and which one's the male. And it was a very strange translation because it's a Chinese thing, and even though she can speak it was actually in Cantonese, but then she it's Mandarin and translated over. So she says the meaning is a bit different from the way that they say it as compared to English. And she said there's some like metaphors that maybe don't make as much sense to Western cultures as they would to Asian. Yeah. But I was like, wow, but nobody had a problem with it. She wasn't at threat to die and all of that. So I'm like, if my teacher could explain that to me when I was in 6th grade, and this isn't somebody that's in Hollywood. It was literally just one of because that was the first year when we had like different teachers for different subjects, and I'm like, that was just an English teacher who happened to be Chinese that explained to us why Mulan was offensive in the actual story for it. Yeah. So I'm like, really, Disney, with all of the research that they do, they couldn't have done something like that. And that to me would have been if they cut out Mushu, cut out the music, and tried to be more accurate and respectful to the culture. That would have been fine.
But you made her fucking magical. Exactly. I'm with you on that. I'm like, yeah, if you want to go for something, that's the thing. Like, I don't understand things. It's like when they made the new Carrie movie. Okay, make a version that's more faithful to the book. Great. No, you made a shot-for-shot remake of the Sissy Spacek one. Why? It's kind of thing like this. Okay, you're telling something that's based on a existing lore. Yeah, okay, cut the stuff out to make it truer to the original source material. No, cut all the fun stuff out that everyone loves to make it stupider and more pointless. And Hotchick's History Corner, thank you for the additional super chat he adds on. For context, I love old 80s kung fu movies, so my standards are fairly low. Also, yes, they gave her chi powers straight up, and China is panning it. No fucking shit, because that's the thing. It's the same way, right? Regular people of color, it's the same way you and I don't really want to be mansplained feminism to by a bunch of men, right? We don't need men telling us how to be women. We do it every fucking day. China does not need Disney to tell it how to be Chinese.
No.
It's not.
And if anything, you guys want to know why they did Mulan? Here's the thing. One of the reasons, so when you have the creative team and they say, okay, we're going to work on this movie, we're going to work on this movie, we're going to work on this movie. And this was actually during, one of Disney's, more epic time periods when they had all of these fantastic artists working on the movie. And the opening for the animated Mulan movie where they're using traditional Chinese art. Oh my God, to like build the building. I love that. I remember watching that for the first time. It was amazing. But okay. What you have is the people that are going to be creative. They're like, okay, we're either going to do let's do this project, let's do this project, let's do this project. Then they have a marketing person going, ooh, this is going to be good because now, yes, we have an Asian princess. So we can do this toy, this doll, this dress, because that's another thing that, Disney is known for. They're known for their Disney princesses. They're known for Disneyland. You got Sleeping Beauty's castle, not Cinderella's. Everyone always confuses them. Disneyland is Sleeping Beauty. Disney World is Cinderella's castle. But so they have people that work on that. That's why certain movies don't do as well, is because they don't have that draw to it, which I know that that's a sad thing that you have to base a movie on marketing aspects, but that's also going to keep it alive. And that's, I think, one of the reasons. Well, Mulan is a fantastic story, regardless of if it would have been like, a quote unquote Disney princess movie. And even though she's not a princess, it's categorized as that because she's so empowering. She's up at the level of, basically being a princess because she's a fucking China. She said she gets an honor from the emperor. She is an honorary freaking princess, and she's one of the best ones there is. But one of the reasons why, again, that is successful is because it does appeal to little girls that are Chinese. They have that, okay, here's a dress that kind of matches my culture. And I know that, some people can like, oh, that's SJW because, oh, they want things for like matching or it has to look like them. It's like, no, not necessarily in this point, because in this point it was done artistically to tell a story from that culture. And that's why it has that impact. That's when you can do representation in the best fucking way possible that's not trying to be SJW and shoehorning it in.
Not to interject too much, but exactly. I mean, I think that's one of the things, like there's something, and that's when you dive into the social justice ideals and whatnot, like they're all based on things that are, they're just bastardizations of what were once good ideas. Yeah, who doesn't want to see? Like, I got excited when I watched Bill and Ted Face the Music because I saw a character who actually dressed like me, who actually acted like I did in high school. It is nice. It's exciting when you see that. It's not necessary. And that's the whole thing is like there's people forget that difference. That's where the SJWs go wrong, where rational good people are like, oh, well, let's make this movie and let's make it historically accurate and show these things. And hey, some little, Chinese girls who don't usually get to see their culture, shown, get to see it. Cool. That's a great byproduct. But that's not why they make the movie. That's not why they make the decision. They want to make this movie and they go through the extra length to make it good for those reasons, it's not a good enough reason to make the movie, but it should be a reason to make it better. Now instead, it's just the reason to make the movie. And therefore, there's nothing else. There's no impetus to be good or any of that shit or any stuff like that. Like, it's just, yep, it's here. We made it about Chinese people. Be happy now. The end. Like, no, you didn't make it fucking good, though. Like,
it's fucking disrespectful. And one of the reasons why there's getting controversy in China is because the main actress that played Mulan, and here's the thing. I think the Quartering actually did a really good video where he was talking about some of the backlash, is that she made statements, and I highly doubt she made it. I think it was her publicist that made it, but basically kind of pro the Chinese government. And he basically said, he's like, she's going to have to do that or else she's going to mysteriously disappear. But all of the people that want, justice and basically the stuff that was going on in Hong Kong, they're all pissed off about it because they're like, what the fuck? You're supposed to be Mulan. You're supposed to be fighting for like justice and freedom, and you're being pro that. And it's like, yeah, but you have to look at it as she kind of wants to stay alive.
Yeah. I mean, that said, this apparently, what she posted, though, she posted on her Weibo, which is like the Chinese equivalent to Twitter, apparently, in 2019, when the Hong Kong protests were happening. She said, I support the Hong Kong police, wrote during the height of the anti-government demonstrations over Chinese extradition policy, adding, you can all attack me now. What a shame for Hong Kong. And then in an interview, she commented on her earlier statement. She says, I think it's obviously a very complicated situation, and I'm not an expert. I just really hope this gets resolved soon. So she made some statements. Again, like, she's an actress. She's a public figure. Who knows if she's making these statements exactly what you said. Are these her actual feelings? Or is she, at this point, she knows she's in Mulan, she's shooting, she's, whatnot. Is she making the statement that she thinks is going to do the best for, her life and all that stuff? So.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing. I don't know if
that was the other part of the controversy too. Apparently the region they shot in is known for its Muslim concentration camps. Like, they actually have put a bunch of Muslims into camps in a region of China, and we're all just not worried about that.
Yeah, I saw,
and they thanked the authorities that run those camps in their fucking credits, apparently. So now people are wondering, did you shoot at these camps? Like, did you just pop in? Fucking American shooting production team just pop in and say, oh, what's up, flagrant human rights violations? We're just going to make a movie here. That cool with you guys? Like, what the fuck? It's very tasteless.
No, I saw that on the Geeks and Gamers Twitter, and how and because I had no idea that existed, and I was like, what the fuck? Concentration camps. I'm like, what era are we in? And then I looked into it, I was like, oh, fuck, shit's shady.
Sketch therapy, you fucking broke me with that. Fuck.
Oh my god. No.
We're talking about how they because they thanked, the people who run these Muslim concentration camps. Like, did they just shoot at them? Fucking Sketch therapy goes free extras. I'm fucking broken. Oh my god, that was excellent. That was amazing. Thank you so much, Sketch therapy. That was brilliant. Okay, everyone's asking me. They were bugging me about this last night. Apparently, I have to ask you about Peasel.
You don't know what Peasel. Do I gotta talk about this now? I was having a good time. Who the fuck told you to ask that so you can ruin my fucking day?
Movie Block Productions, AK. He's really insistent. Now Greg Kirby wants me to as well.
Goddamn. Okay, so basically the gist of Peasel was that they Ethan and John and Cecil, they're like, yeah, let's do the con in Florida. For like the CG Fan Fest con. And I said, I've never wanted to go to Florida. I have no intention of ever going to Florida. And then Cecil was like, come on, you can bring peaches. And I said, no, I'm not bringing peaches anywhere near you, specifically to Cecil. And Cecil was like, why? And I said, because I'm worried that you're going you don't know how beautiful Peaches is, and you're going to take one look at him, and you're going to drug him and run away with him because you guys are gonna I'm like, you guys are instantly gonna become best friends because you guys your personalities, and you guys are both gonna run off. You're gonna roofie my boyfriend and run off with him. And Cecil's like, I'm not gay, and I'm like, I know you haven't seen him yet. And so then people started saying Cecil. But that is a genuine fear of mine, especially because I'm just like, Cecil's going to take one look at Peaches. Their personalities are going to match, and he's going to pull a hangover where it's literally us from The Hangover. It's Kelsey is the one that's on the roof because he never shows up. John is Phil, and then I'm the guy that pulls out my tooth, and then Cecil is Alan. And I'm like, you're gonna fucking roofie and run off with Peaches. And the chat decided to blow up, and so now they're trying to make Cecil a thing.
That's hysterical. Okay, so fear of Cecil running away with your boyfriend. Where does that rank with your fear of sharks? Cecil stealing your man, sharks.
Well, okay, here's the thing. Sharks, it's like I'm afraid I'm gonna die. Like I'm gonna get eaten and I'm gonna fucking die. So that's a different type of fear. The fear of Cecil running off with with Peaches, that's a more like that can happen in the water or on land. So I just need to avoid Cecil and Peaches meeting at all costs.
Apparently, correction to the original story. Apparently, the original fear of Cecil started because one of my friends.
Yes, the guy that was trying to unzip Peaches' sweater at your Hanukkah party, and so I just remember. Well, he was really drunk, but so I just remember like being afraid because I'm like, this is a giant man. I can't defend Peaches, and so I'm like, I can't defend him against a giant man. And so now ever since then, I've had this fear. And especially since everywhere Peaches goes, gay men always hit on him and, they go after him, even though I'm standing right fucking next to him. And then women are always going after him. So I'm like, God damn it. I'm right here. So everyone is just always going after Peaches. And so I'm like, Cecil, the second you see him, you don't know how beautiful he is. He looks like freaking Keanu Reeves and John Wick, except for cuter. And more muscular and not as old.
Easy way out is just to date a man the size of Jeff, then nobody can run away with him.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, I don't want to have a fucking ladder next to me at all times so I can kiss my damn boyfriend, Jesse.
My giant man. Sweet Pea, was this something recent? Because Star Wars Theory has taken a few subtle pot shots at the Phantom Menace before. So was this something recent? If so, ask. And
I saw that he did a video about the Rey thing. I don't know what he said in it, but I know he's taken shots at certain things. I'm not sure. That always confuses me because he did allow me and Jeremy onto his set to film the Darth Vader film. So I'm like, there must be certain things, but he's specifically staying vague on it. But yeah, let us know what video is that's in, and maybe a timestamp, and then me and Jesse can go EFAP it for a second.
Absolutely. If you I don't know, I just heard about it. I was wondering if you guys know. I haven't heard yet, but if any of you guys find a clip or something, we will happily go over it. Lando, please don't eat that plastic. Please just come here. Are you looking for more baby goldfish? Jeff, do you know where the baby goldfish are?
Oh, I'll put I put all the food away.
Okay. I was going to give Lando a few.
But I totally thought I had told you the freaking Peasel story before.
You might have, honestly, but it also might have been on a drunk stream.
Gotcha. And I would also like to add, I was very intoxicated when I proclaimed my fears to the world.
Fair. I'll read Lord J. Bama. Bobby James, I did not forget your tweet or your super chat. I just knew it was going to lead to a discussion, and I wanted to be able to give it that time and not gloss over it since we were in the middle of another topic. So read this real quick because it just goes into what we're saying. Lord J. Bama fan says, oh God, this was the name. The Drunk Phoenix night, or was it the Street Fighter night? One of those nights, I could not fucking say his name. One of the drink nights.
Lord J. Bama fan?
Lord J. Bama fan. I don't know what I was saying. Jeff probably remembers it, but when I couldn't, one of the drunk streams where I couldn't say Lord J. Bama fan's name.
You mean like right now?
No, remember that the stream where I was like,
it was fucking, it was the ugly night.
Drunk Phoenix. I thought it was Drunk Phoenix.
I know, I told it before. That was the ugliest night of our lives drinking.
And Lord J. Bama says, any shark that eats Anna will be instantly diabetic. And it's true. Bobby James says, if you could write Indy 5 or 4 redone, what do you think? Jeff can chime in, lol. I wanted to say that. So thank you for the generous $20 super chat. I wanted to make sure we give that one its proper moment. Anna, any thoughts if you could have either redone 4 or write the new Indiana Jones, how you'd handle it?
4, that's the Crystal Skull, right?
4 was Crystal Skull. So either rewrite that one or write the new one. How would you handle it?
Fuck, I'm trying to remember it. I haven't watched it. The only thing I really remember of the Crystal Skull is the fucking ending. The scene with the ants where the people are getting eaten alive with the ants. I honestly haven't watched it in so long. I don't.
If I were gonna do an Indiana Jones movie, like, you know, in around the Crystal Skull timeline or later, by the way, yes, my cat Lando loves baby goldfish.
I would have definitely recast, as much as I love Shia LaBeouf and even Stevens and Holes.
Sure.
Wait, what is with people casting the spawn of Harrison Ford and not getting sorry everyone, please don't get offended, and not hiring somebody that is up to the look category of Harrison fucking Ford? Because I'm just like, these beautiful fucking people. Like, okay, Adam Driver, I'm sorry, I do not like his face. I think he needs to wear a bag over his head. He is not handsome in any way, shape, or form. And so the fact that Carrie Fisher, Princess Leia, and Han fucking Solo would spawn that, that's a strong call for birth control right there. And yeah, so I was just like, you couldn't have gotten somebody more handsome like Harrison Ford to be Harrison Ford's son. Like, that was the best that Harrison Ford's genes could do. Give me a fucking break. So I'm sorry. I know I know that sounds very superficial, but that was just something that really bothered me.
Recast, make him handsome. I'm actually okay. I like that they brought back Marion Ravenwood. I
did that I did not have a problem. Even though
she's the only really serious girl he has. I mean, there's the femme fatale in Last Crusade.
She died though. She died.
She dies, and she's a Nazi anyway. Yeah. Temple of Doom. It's just some, clearly, even in the movie that you're watching it, Willie Scott is clearly just some fling.
Yeah. The second they're out of the environment, they're going their separate ways.
We also know she doesn't last because it's a prequel to Raiders, and Raiders, he's got Marion, and she's, Willie Scott's nowhere to be found. So they had the most history. They had the most, most of a relationship. So I like that we're bringing back Indiana Jones this many years later. Who are we going to who are we going to bring back into the conversation? Well, we're going to bring back, obviously, we're going to bring back Marion. That works for me. I'm going to give him a different son, and I'm going to I think I would almost redo it like, I would have done it where it's like, dad's just this professor and he goes on these work trips and the kid has no idea what he actually does. And then, at some point, somehow the kid gets swept up into this and is like, it's not about, oh, I'm being cooler than my dad or one-upping my dad. It's the whole thing's about like, oh shit, I had no idea my dad was this badass, and the kid trying to like grow up to fill the shoes of the dad. And I think even like the way the Crystal Skull ended was with like the sorry kid not yet, with the hat.
Mm-hmm.
All that too. That was one of the only things that movie did right, was like, nope, we're not fucking passing the torch. We're not giving this shit up yet, So I would have gone that route, and I think you could have, I think updating it to be in the Cold War made sense. It still worked. Okay, we'll update.
Yeah, because he's older, so it's like, what's going? I like that. I think that there was good ideas in the movie, and I think that it was just not.
No fucking aliens. I'm gonna have.
I fucking love aliens. I didn't mind it because that is a thing in history. Is the how is it possible that the pyramid, like the same things are going on in Egypt and China that's going on in the other side of the world in South America?
I don't have a problem with aliens being part of history, because I do love all that stuff too. I have a problem with them being part of Indiana Jones, because Indiana Jones was part of the beauty of it. It was rooted in the mysticism of actual religions. The first one's very much Judaism. The second one is Eastern, more Eastern religions, cult, Eastern cult type religions. And then your third one's Christianity. And so I think it would have been way more interesting to follow that thread, because there's so much fascinating mysticism with actual religions. Follow that thread with something else.
Paris in Antarctica. Yeah, okay. So, Zac Efron is a terrible casting. Again, I don't think he's very handsome either. And he's way too short. Harrison Ford is a tall fucking dude. I don't.
Yeah.
Okay, but so this are you kind of done? And I can give my idea, or no? Are you still going? Go ahead.
No, rock and roll. No, rock and roll. That's pretty much. Okay,
so this is, and yeah, so as much as I like aliens, I'm, same thing with Jesse and Jeff on this. So yeah, the different religions. So I would have gone, okay, so I hate the idea of, oh yeah, hey, I know we slept together and things didn't work out and I just conveniently didn't tell you that we had a child. I fucking hate that. I hate that so much. I'm like, there's no way. So I would have done what they did in like kind of the third Crocodile Dundee movie is like because the first two were kind of back to back, and then the third one takes place, obviously years later because they have a child and they're just not married. So I would have done it where, yeah, maybe, especially if you want to keep a franchise going. So you keep, maybe have the focus on the oldest child. And so it's like, my dad, I've always wanted to go on adventures like this, and maybe like kind of hint that, one of the kids, okay, so maybe it's like either the oldest child, maybe I would have done that they had multiple children and they just never got married because they're always on again, off again, and they can never settle. And maybe they don't even live in the same house. And like, that can be an ongoing kind of joke in it, is like, oh yeah, your mom this, your mom that. And so maybe he has an oldest child that goes on the adventures with him, and then the middle child's like, Dad, I want to go. And he's like, no, when you're older. And it's like, oh, but I want to be like my brother, like my sister, whichever one is going off with the dad. But so this, because it's during the Cold War, okay, so maybe he's wanting to look at like something that was going on in Mesopotamia. And so for those of you that don't know, Mesopotamia is central Iraq now. And so he needs to go and look at ancient like stuff going on with Mesopotamia, like a temple or something. And there's like an ancient Mesopotamian treasure. And so kind of like, if you guys know like the history behind like Sargon's channel. And so, if you know who Sargon actually is and why that name is important. And so he's going to go look for the lost treasure or the secret of Mesopotamia. But guess where that is? Very fucking close to Russia. And so the Russians are trying to find it too. So it is with that Cold War still kind of aspect. And then you have you don't even have to show the multiple children. It can be that relationship between him and that other child, and then the kid maybe tags along when they're not supposed to, and he's like, this is actually fucking dangerous, we might cause the fucking nuclear war in World War III, and he's got his kid on this mission with him that's never been on a mission before. And it's
interesting that just moving it like the ancient just that little bit works so well, like ancient Mesopotamia, which is modern day Iraq. So you create that conflict, with the different.
And then you can have, if they have multiple children, let's say they had 3 children, the youngest one only gets referenced, so you don't even have to cast that. The oldest one maybe is off, like oldest child was out there first, and so
oldest one's
he has like 2 sons, or okay, maybe 2 boys, 1 girl, and so the girl is the middle child and she wants to go off with her dad, and that's another reason why I said no, you're too young, also you're a girl and you need to I want to protect my little girl because daddy's little girl. And so
then here's what I would do then, is instead of dad going off on the adventure, and in my version,
let me finish real fast. And so like the oldest child goes there first, scouts it out, and so something happens, which is why Indiana Jones has to go find out where his son is, and then you find out either he could have been taken captive by the Russians, or he's actually working with like MI6 on something, and so he's doing something else. But so the oldest son is already like an adult and established and kind of following in his dad's footsteps, but instead of being a professor, he's a specialty in certain archaeology, and so that's why he's doing that. And so that's why when Indiana goes to go find out what happened to his son, because they're like, we can't find him, that's a serious thing. It's like, because he's older, what's going to make somebody that's older and retired from the Indiana Jones aspect that's just a professor go after it? And so it'd be to go after save your fucking kid, and because you're also the expert in the field. So he's going, middle child tags along, youngest child only gets vaguely referenced because they're a very young teenager or preteen. And then that can also be the thing with like the mom is like, now they're both worried because what unites two people? Oh my God, we're worried about a child. And then the other child is in the situation, kind of like what happens in Die Hard with, you know, how they're kind of have an estranged marriage. And then at the end of the movie, they're making out because they're like, intense thing. So that would have been what I wanted. And that's actually kind of what I was expecting, and we didn't get that. So what do you think? Oh, and thank you, Greg. Yeah, here's the thing. I'm actually full of fantastic fucking ideas. And, you know, I actually found out that certain companies, Lucasfilm, like them and do rip them off. I'm not going to say anything more on that, but I actually am very good at coming up with ideas. I take pride in that.
By many, many times.
So what was your 2 cents on that?
Oh, I was just going to tag because I loved your idea. I loved your whole premise with the Mesopotamia and the Iraq and whatnot. So my version, if I would do that, I'd probably stick with maybe one kid and go with the kid doesn't know, you know, thinks dad's just a professor with these work trips, but has this taste for adventure and like treasure hunting anyway. That maybe the dad, maybe the Indy even tries to dissuade when they're younger. And I'm impartial to whether it's a boy or a girl. You know, I'm fine with the.
Yeah, it really doesn't matter because I mean, the oldest kid that in my pitch could have been a girl, and then the younger one could have been a boy.
I like your way of doing it, though. The younger one of this idea, like he wants to protect. Actually, I think in my version, it will work even better if she's a girl because it's all like, you know, she has this lust for adventure and the treasure hunting. She doesn't know what her dad does, but he wants to protect her from that because my precious little girl, my little girl.
Daddy's little girl, which every girl can usually relate to, unless your dad's an asshole.
Exactly. And I also, you know, additionally, like I think sometimes the father-daughter dynamic works well in these adventure style movies. Look at Bill and Ted, because what happens, which, you know, look at.
I haven't seen it yet. Please don't spoil Bill and Ted for me.
I'm just saying one of the things that happens when you do the father-daughter thing or the father-son thing, like in Indy, is that a lot of it ends up feeling like the son tried to one-up the dad. Whereas when they did it with the daughters, it was like they're not. It's so much easier to have a sort of mutually loving relationship. Because like so much father-son movies are always about the tension between the dad and the son, you know, whereas father-daughter relationships don't have to be. A lot of times it's that tension is like, I want you to see me as an adult, not as your pretty little girl and whatnot. But it's the relationship itself is not as strained through it. So there can be a joy to watch two people learning and growing off of each other in that parent-child dynamic without the same kind of tension you get when it's, you know, a father and his son. Yeah, so what I would do with that then is have her, you know, maybe it's like spring break or some shit, you know, and so her parents think she's off partying or something, but she's actually gone off on this adventure to try to find someone.
As like one of those like by the book boyfriends that's boring, but the parents like him because he's like, you know, maybe going like a lawyer, medical school or something like that, but he's so boring. And so she's supposed to be going on a trip with him and she ditches him to go follow her dad.
But what I would do is I wouldn't even have the dad be on the adventure yet. I would have it like she doesn't know that he's off looking for this artifact because she doesn't know he goes on these adventures. She just thinks he's this fucking fuddy-duddy professor. And it's cool and she's interested in history and all that, but she wants to go on these grand adventures. So she's supposed to be spring breaking with this guy who cheats on her right before this stupid thing. And so she's like, fuck you. Who needs you, drippy dude? I'm not going to Miami for spring break. I'm going to Mesopotamia to find this secret ancient artifact that I read this cool article or learned about in my history class. I'm going to go on a treasure hunt instead. And then either dad's not there yet and has to go to save her when he finds out where she is, or they're on the same fucking treasure hunt. I actually kind of like that. They're on the same damn treasure hunt, and he's like, "What the hell are you doing here?" kind of thing. And then she learns about, you know, what he does, and
well, I wouldn't have him be like the guy that cheats on her. I would have him be like the very snooty 1% that's like old money, and so like that's why the mom and dad like they like that for her because they're like, he's gonna take care of you, and she's like, I got to get out of this because you're a stuck-up snob, and I want to go get my hands dirty and get go on these adventures.
I like that a lot.
And then during this, they could run into like a colleague or something, and like that could be her love interest because obviously Indiana Jones isn't going to have a love interest. So then she runs into, I don't know, a Middle Eastern guy that's like the expert that's going to show them the temple, and she's like, "Hey, sexy man," and so you have that.
God, it was so great.
Romance on the side, and Indy is like, "That's my little girl. Stay away from her."
It would be too if he's still married to Marion, because remember how great it would be if it was like a former colleague of Indy's that we just never met, who's like, you know, a little younger and whatnot, maybe someone who went on one of his adventures with him once.
Oh yeah, and then she's like, it's causing jealousy between Marion and the daughter's even like, what about mom? Who's this bitch? Who is this bitch?
but then it also parallels but then I would say if you have a guy that she's interested in, that the daughter's interested in, it parallels the Marion story, because Marion was the daughter of one of Harrison Ford's older colleagues.
We just came up in the past 10 minutes with a better fucking movie and setting up a whole franchise than they did.
Referential to the previous, exactly, and a whole thing where you could continue with, Indy and his daughter.
Hey, Jeff, what do you think of our pitch?
Jeff, what did you hear? What did you think?
I like it better than Indiana Jones 4. I mean, I'm of the mindset there shouldn't have been more than 3.
Yeah.
Unless you're going to make it all about him, because I hate iconic characters having to pass it off. Bill and Ted didn't have to pass it off. So,
well, that's what we're saying. Is our conclusion doesn't involve the passing of the torch. It involves still like, all right, if we're going to make more movies, he's still the guy. Yeah. And it's like you have this daughter as the apprentice character who can sort of do some of the things that maybe old ass broken down Harrison Ford can't do anymore.
My only complaint is with all of this is clearly he didn't raise these kids. He has no relationship with them. The whole movie is going to be building a relationship with a daughter.
Well, that's what we're talking about. Is we don't want that.
No, like is that he was there. They just don't know this side of him. So he's in the adventure side of him. Or they knew, but it's kind of like when
I would almost actually
you're little and you haven't gone out with mommy and dad. Like, okay, so for me, I kind of sliced my leg open on a tractor, so I was banned from going near my dad's tractor. So until I was much older, so it's like, ooh, now I can go. I'm old enough to go with my dad on hunting trips. I'm old enough to go with my dad to do farming stuff. I'm old enough now, so it's like they always knew, and he was always there. The relationship between him and Marion was just on again, off again kind of thing. So they never got married, but they had, during the on times, they had kids and stuff, and then they would break up and. Because whatever.
I could see that. Or I could even see a version where he just retires after Last Crusade, finds Marion, has kids, and is
exactly. He stopped doing it. And he can even say that, hey, like I told you like last time, I have kids now, I have to be responsible because like they can't lose me and whatnot. And I gotta be responsible for my babies. Mm-hmm. And then he's like, he's gotta go save one of his babies. So that's why he goes back.
That would make sense, because then you have a reason why then you can have your the best of both worlds, where he's still this awesome action hero who never burnt out or anything like that, but he also is not just this deadbeat absentee father. So, before I forget, I think you probably thought I was joking last week when I said this, but I was not. For those who are tuned into I also want to read the super chat before it goes away, because it was an awesome super chat that came in from Bobby James. I can't bring it up on the screen and whatnot, but we were talking about some of our crazy town and Peach is gonna hit on the party and stuff like that. Bobby James asked, "Damn, what do you have to do to get invited to a party?" Lol. So clearly we got to invite Bobby James to one of our parties. That's like, I wish we all lived in the same place, because can you imagine the parties we would have? Like if it was just like me.
I am completely fine never going to a party for the rest of my life because I hate parties.
But imagine if the party was literally just like the three of us, like me and you, Jeff, the Jack Show guys, Ethan,
I like being in the comfort of my own home in my yoga pants.
Well, you can host the party then.
No, because then I have to clean up after.
You can get an Airbnb and host the party.
No, because then you have to pay for the cleaning fee. I am completely fine doing virtual parties. I have never been in. I feel like I'm very awkward in social situations, and that's what I always have to tell people. Is
we had fun at the meetup at the celebration.
You had fun walking around arm wrestling people. I sat there and was drinking and live streamed. I was very uncomfortable, but I don't like crowds. I don't like parties at all. I'm not a party person, so
I don't like them when they're smaller and I know everyone already. I don't like going to. I don't like big crowds. I actually don't like conventions at all.
I like conventions because I just weave through crowds and I get to go do what I want and nobody notices me. But so like the bar meetup, it's just kind of, it's a different experience because it's like. And this is what kind of hit me is I'm like, I don't know any of these people because, I only am used to seeing avatars and, maybe a few names here and there, but I can't put like a face to an avatar. Yeah. And so I'm like, oh, hi, I'm Anna. And they're like, yeah, I know. And that to me is kind of strange.
The best part ever though was when Josiah thought Andy from the UK was what's his face.
Was SC reviews. Okay, see that was funny.
Hilarious. Yeah, I actually the way like I can tolerate crowds for a concert if it's a band I really, really want.
Well, you're really good with people. Like you can strike up a conversation with anyone.
Like
I am very socially awkward and I get very uncomfortable talking with people one-on-one. And this is what I've said. I'm like, I can stand in front of thousands of people and give a speech, and because I love public speaking, I can do that. I don't get nervous at all. When I'm at a party and I have to talk to people individually, I hate it. I absolutely hate it.
My problem is every party I've been to the past couple of years, one fucking person always gets me into the like fucking Last Jedi social justice warrior conversation. And then it's like hours of like, I don't fucking need to prove to you why you're wrong every fucking time. Just wake up and stop being an asshole. And it's always like a dude who wants to explain feminism to me. And I'm like, please stop. I had a couple more super chats before I do this next wonderful surprise, and then after this I'll reward you with Henry Cavill. I'm
so my body is ready, Jesse. I saw he's posting more gym pictures on Instagram, and I was like, oh my god.
Bobby James, I don't know what area of the world you do live in, but if we're ever in that area, let me know. Well, let me know what area of the world you do live in, because when I'm back to traveling and stuff, forever in that area, we'll give you a call. Come hang with me and Jeff. Jeff travels pretty much wherever I go, and vice versa. So, Mega Daddy 1, Jeffrey Turner, Mega Daddy 1, thank you for the super chat. Said I have a rewrite of Indy 4 and a script idea for Indy 5. I feel like you might have told me yours before. Did you tell me your ideas for Star Wars? Mega Daddy 1's tons and tons of ideas for rewrites or different scripts and what. I know he's got tons of Star Wars. He's definitely pitched me a lot of those. Another person full of ideas and creativity. Anthony Shirley says, cast me. I would be a perfect Ren Loso. Well, if the power was up to me, you'd be in my movie, Anthony. But I guess there's oh god, oh no, that's a scary thumbnail, and I don't like it. I'm trying to I think it's less unsettling than the this is, I guess he's going to be Harrison Ford's new child. I think this thumbnail is less unsettling than the Leslie Headland one. So. But thanks for the super chat, Anthony Jolie, and for the fun as always. All right, so the thing I wanted to share with you, because you thought I was joking last week. So if you remember last week on the Matriarchy, we had a really interesting listener who loves Anna and her work. And
oh my god, what is
more than anything else, loves Anna's ponytail. And so I told her at the end of last week's stream that I was going to write you a poem. And you requested iambic pentameter.
Oh my god.
Shakespearean sonnet in proper metric. Are you ready?
Am I ready? Here, make me smaller so that way it's more focused on you.
I just wish you were on camera for this one so we could see where
I look like a troll right now.
Small. Will you be on camera if I make you really small? You can't look worse than me. I'm like trying to throw my hair over my eyes because they're freaking, I don't know, must be having allergies or again because I've got my dark circles back and shit. All right. Are you ready?
I am ready. Let's hear this.
It sways so gently, bobbing to and fro, in shades of brown which dancing catch the light. The only joy, if you must watch her go, the visage of the hair bound in its might. A plain elastic binds it in a bunch that cascades gently halfway down her back. You'd take this girl out for the finest lunch, though if you told her why, you'd get a whack. For all you want to do is touch her hair. That ponytail power makes you weak. Its thick embrace against a face so fair, and in its presence, you cannot even speak. That Star Wars girl is set to rule them all. Her ponytail will make all others fall.
Oh my god. That is the first Shakespearean thing written about me, and it's about my fucking ponytail. Oh my god.
Did you like my reference to the elastic? I wanted to keep it on brand, and I also that I wrote that poem like 5 minutes before I sent you the link.
Well, that was better than anything that I could do. Wow, I think that needs to actually be printed on a t-shirt.
The poem?
Yeah, the ponytail.
No.
It's
The powerful ponytail.
Mm-hmm.
The interesting thing, movie Metal Rock McDonald's is, to be honest, I've never heard of a ponytail fetish.
John looked into it, Jesse. Apparently, the reason why it's elastic is because that's how you can like kill somebody by asphyxiation.
Okay.
And so I guess that's the fetish, is that because they specifically say something about not scrunchies, even though half of those pictures that they used were of me with scrunchies. You just couldn't see it.
Asphyxiation fetish transposed onto your hair.
It's because I guess like with the elastic and the way that like a ponytail looks, that the like it's a strangulation, asphyxiation fetish.
That makes a lot of sense then, because a lot of people have a strangulation or asphyxiation fetish. That's very common. That's like, I don't even consider that like kinky. If someone's like, I like being choked in bed, I'm like, that's vanilla sex as far as I'm concerned. And it's just so common. So that actually makes more sense. Oh, Leo Slayer, you had to be there last week. Somebody
they did a dramatic, or they did an appreciation video for all the times I posted a picture on Instagram with my hair in a ponytail, but then they specifically said how with elastic and made the very detailed explanation as to why not with scrunchies. And then I kind of had to burst the bubble and say that one's in the scrunchie, that one's in the scrunchie, because scrunchies don't hurt my head because I have a lot of hair, and when I wear it in a ponytail, I get a headache. So I like scrunchies, and I don't really own elastic ponytails. Absolutely. Or hair ties, but
in the like 1 or 2 times I've attempted putting scrunchies in this hair, elastic ones are way more painful. Can attest. That said, I can only use those with my hair, so even if I had longer hair, I'd have to use elastic. My hair is too fine. A regular like a scrunchie would just slide off. Like even when I put in a good solid hair clip, even when I anchor it pretty solidly like to the hair near my scalp, it slides right out. Over like after like an hour or two, it just everything slides right through this. But yes, Bobby James, thank you for the wonderful, amazing super chat. I think I did miss a tour in here somewhere, so I'll go back and grab it. Don't worry. I did. It's from Mega Jetty, so I'll make sure I hit that one. Thank you for the incredibly generous super chat. It says, tell Jeff I'd love to join during High Council if possible. I will definitely pass that on.
Can I just say something? I know I don't mean to be rude, but this is one of my pet peeves that people do, and I don't think that a lot of people are aware, but there's like specific YouTube etiquette, and even in super chats, it is kind of considered rude to not invite yourself onto somebody's channel, maybe email them in private, because this is, even though it's very generous, it's very nice. I mean, this is, Jesse might have the complete opposite feeling that I do, but this is, I wouldn't say it's exactly the proper way. It, in my opinion, it's a little impolite to put somebody on the spot with the super chat, but that's just my 2 cents on it. But obviously Jesse and Jeff are, I feel like, maybe a lot maybe in a way a bit nicer than me.
I'll speak to that. I will speak to that a little bit. I'll say it's Bobby James is someone we've spoken to a little bit, and we've.
Okay. I need to know the context.
So that, but what I will say to that too, and I also know with Bobby, like with him specifically, I mean, he's someone like, he sent that $50 super chat about the party and whatnot, and we kind of got off on his previous super chat topic, and so he sent a message saying you don't have to highlight that other super chat. So he's definitely like a very, not
okay. I just wanted to say in general, because I know that some people, they don't know, and they will, unless you like know the person. Absolutely. It's kind of known, and this is just an FYI to people, especially if like you are aspiring to be on YouTube. It is kind of frowned upon in the YouTube community to, especially publicly, invite yourself onto somebody somebody else's channel. And so that kind of stuff, it's much more well received if you do it in private as compared to publicly. But obviously I don't know the relationship that you guys have. I just know that when I see stuff like that and other YouTubers, it's kind of considered like in coming up or showing up to somebody's house unannounced. It is a little improper.
And I'll speak that further too. Even in a situation that's just for anyone out there, and whatnot. Even in a situation where we have that relationship, and you're like, oh, this should be fine. It's no issue. And I'm not going to be. I know you, Bobby James. If we were like, yeah, I don't think it's going to happen, High Council, whatever. I don't think you get offended or be like, well, fuck this. I'm out of this channel because clearly you're not that kind of guy. But the thing to keep in mind with that is even if you have that relationship with another YouTuber, and Doran, we're not trying to put him on blast or anything like that. I think Bobby.
No. I'm just saying in general because I have seen this happen quite like more often for whatever reason now. Maybe it's just because I'm more aware of it now. But it's like I especially, I don't like it when people do that to me. And it actually bothers me more when people do it to other people's, like when I'm watching it and like I see somebody and they read that and it's like, you're kind of putting somebody on the spot as compared to talking with them in private, but also it's very different in, how much you know the person. But so it's like if Jesse showed up in my chat, I'm like, oh, Jesse's here. Jesse, like if you're free, I'll send you the link. Mm-hmm. I know like Yellow Flash, if he shows up in my chat and he's like, yeah, send the link, like that's different because I know them. And
what I will say is if I show up in someone's chat and I know them, if I have another avenue of contacting them, even then I'll usually go out privately because the biggest thing, and like again, Bobby James, no offense taken whatsoever. I don't want you to think for a minute, that I took any offense to that or any stuff like that. But I do agree with Anna. It does put you in a position, the position that it puts me in, put someone in that's less good, even if it's nothing to do with our relationship or whatnot, is when I know you're just a very generous person who's really into the community and loves, supporting it and whatnot, but other people will look and see a pay to play thing.
Yes. And so it's like, even with like, let's say somebody that's, maybe not as close. So me and Jesse were basically best friends. Can I say that, Jesse? Are you my best friend?
Absolutely.
Jesse's I've always considered you one of my best friends ever since Chicago.
That's Chicago. We've been like, trust me, like my sister, basically.
I know. Well, my relationship with my sister.
We probably have a better relationship with. We definitely have a better relationship.
So it's like if let's say we had another guest on that maybe we didn't know as well. It's just very frowned on in the YouTube community to invite yourself, especially with super chats, onto somebody else's stream because and this is no reflection on you. I'm just saying that's kind of a sign to certain people that could be considered a clout chaser. And if you guys don't know what that means, it's like somebody that just kind of
knows what that means.
They want to use you so that way they can elevate themselves, which I'm not saying is that instance. I just want to make you aware that could be how that is perceived, because I know YouTube is a very strange animal in itself, and not every I didn't know this until until doing it for a while, and I noticed that kind of stuff. So it's like if you let's say you really love this one channel and you feel like you would vibe very well with them and they're responsive to you, I would recommend contacting them in private and like saying, hey, like I would love to like stream with you. I'd love to talk. Like I would just love to talk with you. That is going to be much more, receptive. Like that's kind of saying like, hey, like let's hang out.
I don't want to get bogged down on this for another like hour or anything. The things that say with the three unintended consequences of something well-meaning like that is, one, like Anna said, people will think you're a clout chaser. If they see you show up somewhere else, they may treat you differently because they feel like you're doing that, even if you're not. Two, people may frown upon us if it turns out, absolutely, Bobby James, hop on this stream because we like you and we think you're cool, then people might look at it and go, oh, well, these guys just only have guests on who pay them, and they might think poorly of us for that. And they also might, other people may think, watching then may think they get a pay to play too, which then they get pissed off at us. Because it's like, Bobby James sends $100 super chat, said, I'd love to come to the High Council sometime. Odds of that happening, pretty fucking high. I'm just going to let you know right there. Odds of that happening, pretty fucking high. Bobby, you've been nothing but cool. I want to get together, talk more about music. Obviously, you have a lot of great things to contribute to the nerd community, and High Council is always looking for new voices, so we'd love to, so odds of it happening, obviously it's up to Jeff, he's the man, but, I'd say odds of it happening are decent. there's some other people, fucking Geek Prime X drops $100 and goes, "Don't be on the high counter, you fucking hypocrite." Not that he can string that many words together and make it sound,
I was gonna say that's way more.
That's way more logical than he's ever been. But someone like with a little more, mental faculty than Geek Prime X maybe. I'm gonna think, well, I get to, and whatever. But anyway, someone great subject changer. Since we forced you into Peaceful, I guess I have to tell you about this. I guess I need to tell you about the piss covered strawberries. So how we play Mad Libs on the channel. So anything that happens on the channel becomes canon. Sorry, just responding to it real quick. Anyway, so what happens on the channel? What happens on the channel is canon. What happens on the channel is canon. How's that for the English language? But so last night, piss covered strawberries happened.
Oh, no.
As in our Kama Sutra under romantic desserts. Try some piss covered strawberries.
Oh God.
So that's now a thing. Jeff's got really excited. That's funny too, because we just started riffing about we're gonna put it on a shirt, right? And then Jeff got really excited because he was like, "Ooh, I've always wanted to do that style that I've seen artists do, where something's underwater, like a certain style for drawing things underwater that are less defined and whatnot." This is a specific way of doing it he's always wanted to try. And so he got really excited about drawing a bowl of strawberries that are partially submerged in piss. And this is a fucking thing. This is now a thing. Piss covered strawberries is now a thing. So it's piss strawberries and shit pancakes.
Okay, no,
yeah. Please, whatever, if anybody would like to draw pictures of piss-covered strawberries, any future and further references to piss strawberries and listeners or World Cup bullshitters will be nothing but welcome. Clyde79, who is pissing on them? Well, Jeff wanted to piss on them, and then I guess no one was going to eat them because, they're covered in piss. We were going to... There was something, Shad War Johnson's, wait, I missed here. Is it something I want to prove to? Mad Libs created piss-covered strawberries is basically the end of it. And as I promised, Anna, in recompense for forcing you to listen to my sonnet about your ponytail, I bring you, without further ado, Henry Cavill. Bam.
Oh my God.
I was waiting for it. I heard the click of you getting back to the tab, and then boom, all over.
Oh my God.
So this comes from an incredible article that Jeff came across. That's really, you'll love this. I love it because Jeff loves it. This was his pick. I think this is brilliant all the way around. Henry Cavill chosen as the next James Bond by AI casting program. According to the first ever AI-assisted casting program, Henry Cavill should take over as James Bond after Daniel Craig.
Yes, they've been saying this for fucking years. He was doing interviews about this years ago. You can find where he, where he is going to answer. They're like, how do you like your martini? And he's like, well, there's the right answer, and then there's the actual answer. And so he was going to say how he really likes it, and then he's like, shaken, not stirred.
Bam! He auditioned for Casino Royale, which was.
And he should have got it because well, maybe they'll fix it. Maybe it'll actually be James Bond. But Daniel Craig is a fucking terrible casting choice for James Bond. He's not fucking James Bond.
He's such a terrible choice. And the thing is, I'm glad Henry Cavill didn't end up in those movies because those movies were dog shit. And Henry Cavill is a good choice. So maybe if we can course correct and get back to making actual Bond flicks with an actual Bond. Maybe this could be the best possible version. But it's Jeff pointed out a story he likes to tell. It's beautiful. It's poetic in the way that it mirrors Pierce Brosnan's venture as well, because Pierce Brosnan was originally supposed to play Bond early, like a decade earlier or something, and he was under contract for something else and they wouldn't let him out, or whatever it was. Jeff knows the whole story, obviously.
He was gonna do, I think he was doing a show, right, Jeff?
He was on a TV show, and I think what, Remington Steele?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. So he was on Remington Steele, and what was the deal? It got renewed or something?
He was literally in the hotel walking out the door to go downstairs to a press conference.
Yeah.
He gets a phone call, and it's them to renew for like a handful of episodes.
Yeah, so he was walking down to do a press conference to announce he was going to be the next James Bond, gets a phone call, they renewed for some more episodes, and he couldn't do it. And then, obviously later on that worked out for him. So hopefully the same thing happens with Henry Cavill, and it does work out. I thought this is a really interesting. I wanted to know more about this AI process. I love this whole AI assisted stuff. It always ends up being funny usually, but I just think it's so interesting. And I want to know more about this program. The AI assisted program compared different actors' attributes against Bond's attributes in order to best assess who would be the perfect choice to follow in Craig's footsteps. Cavill came out ahead with the Hobbit star Richard Armitage just behind, followed by Idris. Did you see what the third one was, Jeff?
I didn't read the article.
The third one was Idris Elba.
They've been talking about Idris Elba for a while.
Who was Richard Armitage? I know everyone's fucking, everyone wants that, but I feel like maybe we're moving over to wanting. Was Richard Armitage? Did he play Thorin?
Or is he the dad elf? I can't remember. He might be the dad elf, but the
Thranduil.
Dude,
Thranduil, Legolas's dad.
Which one is it?
The King of the Wood Elves.
So that's the guy that they want to be James Bond?
I'm trying to find out. For some reason. Okay, Richard Armitage, can we just go to get your fucking IMDb or something? Dude, why is this so hard? Okay. I'm just looking at his face and I can't. Oh no, he was Thorin. I think there's a picture over here.
Okay, so I actually saw him in this mini series called North and South, which I thought was about the Civil War, but apparently it's not. It's about England.
Cool.
And I was like, what? And I guess the North is regular country, and then the south of England is where all the industrial stuff, because it's during the Industrial Revolution, so that was what it was about. And he's like the romantic lead, but the romance doesn't happen till the very end. And he is actually, I'm not gonna lie, I was like, woo, I did not see this dwarf guy as like the romantic lead, like this badass, and he was. So I'm like, he would actually not be a bad choice, but honestly, I'm kind of concerned about his age, and also Henry Cavill. Yes,
straight up though. Straight up, share screen. Oh, I did miss this. I forgot I missed the super chat earlier. I just want to read it real quick. Oh, that's not loading now, so never mind. Just kidding. The page that I needed wasn't loading. So what did I want to do? I wanted to get rid of you so I could bring up you. Well, not you. This other stuff.
Bye.
Honestly, I have to admit, when I watched The Hobbit, I was like, I'm kind of attracted to Thorin Oakenshield. It's weird because in my mind, he's also this creepy old animated dude from the movies I grew up watching. Mm-hmm. Whatchamacallit?
Yeah, he's a handsome man. But Henry Cavill kind of holds the crowning jewel for me. But he is a very nice looking man.
He's dashing, and I think he could do a solid Bond. I actually think he also could be a decent Bond villain. I think he's got a villainous look to him. I think I think he might have just moved into my second choice spot for Bond. It's really hard to argue with Henry Cavill. He is really, we looked at the picture. He's
the thing, though, you need to remember about Bond is star power as well. Like Sean Connery, a fucking star. Pierce Bronson, a fucking star.
Sean Connery did it. He wasn't.
I know, but he has that charisma. It made him the star. So
would be
Henry Cavill is got more of that star power, and he's definitely a leading man. And so I think, especially right now, Henry Cavill is 37 years old. Get him now when he's still in his damn prime before he gets too old, because he's doing all this stuff, and he's never going to be too old for me, even though he's significantly older than me. But, yeah.
I know Richard Armitage is already 49, so he's
Exactly. So I'm like,
he only got like one Bond movie in him. He could be a villain. I'm gonna go backwards on super chats for a minute here because Doc Holliday's going. So thank you for the super chats. It's dinner time. Have a good one, Jeff and Jesse, Jeff and Anna, and the rest. Smash like. I'm out. Thank you, Doc Holliday. Great addition to the chat always, because he does not always agree with what we have to say, but he's always respectful. He's always super cool. And we had that. I talked about that. It was something we was last week when we did our boys duo. You know, he and Jeff got into it over Spider-Man. Came over, had some other great discussions. So shout out to you, Doc Holliday, for always being super cool. Shout out to you again, Bobby James, too, for also being super cool, even when we were going over all that stuff that was not for you specifically, you know, but for the general population. Thank you again for being super cool. Thank you, Raging Rhino, for the super sticker. We've got the Shiba Inu saying, how's it going? How's it going, Rhino? It's going good for us.
Did you see Jesse? I was pimping him out the other day.
No, great though. He's fucking awesome. He deserves all the everything. Ooh, I promised I was gonna give him feedback on something I totally haven't done yet. I'm a jerk. But I will, Rhino. Mark my words, I will. You've not been forgotten.
Everyone, if you haven't, go sub to Raging Rhino's channel and let's get him over 1,000 so that way he can get monetized.
What the fuck? Let's get this bitch monetized because then we can start having drinking streams on his channel. So I mean, that's what's up. I'm gonna pull a link up for him real quick and drop it in the chat. He is a lot of fun. His videos, they're good quality. That's the whole thing is we're not just kicking you over to someone we like and going, oh, sub. He makes great quality, like the quality.
He does, and he deserves to get paid for it. He puts, I think at least 20 hours in his fucking videos, and they are amazing. So he deserves it.
He puts the work in. Hard. He absolutely puts the work in. So there's the link dropping right in the chat now. So guys, please take a second, sub to Rhino. He's super cool.
I kind of pimped you out. And so I said, well, here's the thing. I was trying to pimp Rhino out, and I said if he got to 1,000 in the 24 hours, that I would do a bikini stream with him on his channel, and that you would come too, and you would be in a bikini as well. And I was like, I haven't asked or confirmed this with Jessie, but I'm like 99.9% sure I can convince her to do it.
I know I would do it for you, buddy, but I'd still shit on Victoria while I did.
There you go. Jessie, do you have another topic pulled up? Because I don't know if you're aware that Gina Carano is getting like attacked on Twitter, and I've been fighting with this troll for like a day.
I do have a couple more, but we can certainly jump over into that one for that. I'm just gonna hit these super chats. If you want to pull that up, we can dive into that next. I think the other things I have weren't gonna be super. They weren't gonna take too long to cover.
Okay.
But Jeffrey, thank you. Says Henry Cavill or Michael Fassbender as Bond and villain. I actually like
my uterus would fucking explode so hard because I always loved Magneto, and I could see where he was coming from. Was maybe not let's kill all of humankind, but I could see where he's like mutants need to stand together. So Magneto was always my favorite X-Men. But when I saw him in X-Men, I was like, holy shit, Magneto's hot.
Yeah. He's.
I hated Jennifer Lawrence. I was like, cast anyone fucking else.
I like Jennifer Lawrence. I'm in the minority.
He's like perfection. I'm like, my uterus just exploded. So him as the villain, Henry Cavill as Bond. Oh my god, that'd be one steamy fucking movie.
All right, I'm gonna take it one step further because I'm on my Richard Armitage kick now. I'm gonna take Armitage as the mastermind villain. I'm going to take Fassbender as your boots on the ground, going hand to hand with Henry Cavill villain, and then Henry Cavill as your Bond. So, and I think that's just a freaking knock it out of the park, smash it home run movie, which Dune is not going to be, by the way.
I have not seen the trailer yet, so do not spoil anything for me.
I won't. I wanted to speak to some things outside of the trailer on that a little bit later, but we'll save that because I want you to get. I want to dive into yours as well. We'll say I figured Dune will just sort of catch up on very quickly at the end. Anthony Scioli says my area looks like Silent Hill with all the ash. It's pretty crazy out here. We have fire-colored sky. There must have been a new fire close to where I work. I teach one fencing lesson right now. I was driving out to my lesson, and whatchamacallit. What was it? I just want to mention that. The new fire out there. The sky is like totally ashy. It's fucking crazy out here. So yeah, it's pretty nutso.
The sky where I live is like Not the right color.
It's not. It's like this weird. Is yours like that hazy grayish orange shit too?
Mhm.
Yeah, it's so bizarre. It always looks like the apocalypse when there's with this many fires around. It's very strange, and it's weird because like usually it's like it happens for one big fire once in a while. It's been going on like this for days now.
Mhm.
Jeffrey Turner, AK21 says it was Star Wars and Back to the Future rewrites. Oh right, he did send me those ones. Want me to DM Jeffrey Turner? Why don't you make videos on your rewrites, on your rewrite ideas? I don't know if you do or not. Maybe you have. Confess I haven't caught everything you've ever made, but you have these great ideas. Just make a long form video where you kind of, bullet point your plot for these rewrites or your version. It'd be fun. I think we clearly love every time it comes up. We get sucked into rewriting it ourselves and listening to each other's ideas, so make those videos. That's what I say. All right. So what is Gina Carano on blast for now?
Okay, so I am going to share my screen. It's okay, let me just say something. And
you've never tweeted Black Lives Matter, or is this something different?
It's about COVID. Okay, but so remember the one when Project Stardust happened and it's like, oh, women don't have a safe space. We have to ask permission. And then I went and I did my research on the person, and turns out this person had safe space for 10 years. They had a YouTube channel and they conveniently deleted all of their content after I pointed out. And then I got a message from somebody that knew them and they went to college with that person. They're like, yeah, you were 100% spot on. They just wanted attention. Okay, so this person made this. Let me actually share my screen with you. Let me just.
Also, I just noticed that my thing was still set to mindless bullshit from last night.
You're fine. Okay, share my screen.
I did.
Okay, so this person, I'll read what they said. So they said, I'm officially canceling my Cara Dune cosplay. I'm not going to build up a character played by a COVID denier. My baby was born and has lived her whole life in lockdown because of people like this. Save lives, stay home, The Mandalorian. Okay, so this was my response. I said, nowhere in any of these tweets did she deny COVID. IDK, why you're willing to create a false narrative when evidence you yourself provided disproves your entire complaint. So let's take a look at her thread, because it's very strange the way that this goes. Okay, so she says this. She provides these tweets. How is it oppressing others in a good way to take a stand against oppression? Unless this year's chaos is not solely about oppression, and obviously not solely about pandemic, or we'd all be dead. 2020 is an election year. America, take back your freedom, protect the free world. Open up your businesses and churches, put whatever regulations you want, because that is your right, but open them up. You're telling me COVID-19 knows the difference between a protest or praise and worship. I haven't even been to church in over a decade, but I'm sure I would go there now. The world is open, but no one is allowed to work. Working is a right as an American, as an American have. It gives us purpose, focus, pride, most importantly, a way to support the ones we love. People are dropping like flies from depression and suicide, overdose, murder. Enough already. So nowhere in any of this did she deny COVID. She never said it didn't. She never denied it.
And she makes a lot of. I was actually having this discussion with somebody earlier today because I came in to give my one lesson, and the gentleman who owns this fencing, he asked me if I knew some more about this other club. I looked them up, and it looks like they lost their building too. This is now the second fencing club in our area, and the umpteenth. They're dropping like flies around that. People are losing their leases, and this guy's telling me, he's going through the same shit right now. But basically, it's like you can't have it both ways.
No, and here's another thing. I talked to Andre the other night, and he said Norway is completely open. Nobody wears masks. He says people still social distance except for on trains and stuff. And he said the numbers for deaths in COVID are almost non-existent except in very certain places.
What I will say, part of that is that those countries that have it under control, they got it under control in the first place. And they got it under control because people got on board and hunkered down and got rid of it. The whole reason why, and then got good contact tracing. Because that's the whole thing, is you have a very small number of infections in a contained enough space where you can trace it and know exactly who was contacted. Those people can go into quarantine. It doesn't spread. The problem is we have such a gigantic country and we can't get on board with any one message because everything's politicized. You can't fart in this country anymore without someone politicizing it almost before it happens. So you can't get on message because honestly, there are multiple ways to go about this. You can go full lockdown, but you have to provide for people. So it's the problem is you have you have two opposing forces that are just tearing each other apart. You know,
and he's 100% right. And this is what I said to Andre. I'm like, it's not an election year for you. And he's like, no, it's not. Okay, but here's something that's strange about her tweets, Jesse. So see, this is her tweet, and then she responds retweeting her fucking tweet in the same thread. So it's like, also, I'm really fucking glad she didn't play Wonder Woman, but it's like this, she's commenting on her tweet with a retweet of her tweet.
Why not just make a comment?
She's like, oh, she's retweeting her tweet in the same fucking thread after she's already retweeted her tweet with a picture that Gina blocked her. And I'm like, well, no, duh. First off, you're fucking lying. You're blatantly lying about her. You blatantly lied about her. You're constantly retweeting. You tagged The Mandalorian and Disney because you're trying to get her canceled and fired. And I'm like, this is a very strange way. And then, okay, so then this is something that I had retweeted again. But okay, so then so I retweeted this, right? And it started getting traction. And you can even go see it, like the quote tweets, and it's like a lot of fandom menace people that come in. But so then she did a tweet. Let me see if I can actually find it on her profile. But she did this tweet right after I retweeted it. And she said something about, oh yeah, now all the Gina defenders are coming. I muted you guys, F you, or like hashtag fine. Where is it? It was, what? Did she delete it? Let's see.
Probably.
I know, but so she basically, the way that, no, it's not there. Where the hell is it? This is why I hate some of the stuff with Twitter. Oh yeah, so then she said something about Lucy. Oh, here we go. So then this was her response, like right after I retweeted it, and it said, "Oh, good. The Gina defenders have arrived. Rest in peace, my mentions, while they nitpick between denying COVID and denying the scientific methods of stopping its spread." And I'm like, no, you were the one that created a problem. And then they said, they've insulted my intelligence, ability as a mother, and more. Obviously, they are great people. Hashtag yawn. And so it's like she's deliberately being a passive-aggressive bitch.
Of course. By the way, there's a mile between denying COVID and denying the methods to stop the spread. And while I don't agree with neither, first of all, neither of what are doing. She said right in her fucking tweet, observe, Disney practices and whatnot. But
specifically said, I don't see how a disease discriminates between protesting and worship.
Exactly. That's the fucking point, and that's the hypocrisy, and that she is so right to call it out, and that's why people are freaking out about it, because they can't handle it. They can't handle the fucking truth, which is exactly that. Why did California explode when it did? Okay, we had Memorial Day and we had the 4th of July, and certainly those are to blame, but we were getting ready to reopen. This state was going to be fucking fine until thousands of people all crowded together out on the goddamn streets. What kind of impact do you think that happens? These goddamn hypocrites who probably the month before were sitting at their, being their keyboard warrior selves, bitching at anyone who went to the beach or went outside without a mask, and you're killing us all. And these same assholes are packing shoulder to shoulder to fucking protest. Because guess what? COVID is going to kill the black people going out and protesting there. So if black lives really fucking matter, then you don't want them to die of COVID any more than you want them to die of police brutality. Gina Carano was just calling out your bullshit hypocrisy, and you're too fucking stupid to know it, which is why
it gets worse, Jesse. It gets fucking worse. So then this was another response in that same thread. So she said, look at all the she retweets herself in her own thread. It doesn't make any sense. It's like, you do realize people can just scroll in the fucking thread.
I think she thinks that if she retweets it, it's somehow going to give more attention to the original.
I think so. So that's another thing. It's all about attention. And so this is the first thing that she points out in the second tweet. My tweet is getting she says, my tweet is getting a lot of attention. So let me clarify. Gina Carano is not a COVID denier, at least not in her tweets. She's a science and mask denier who is encouraging people to take risky actions, which is the exact same outcome as her being a COVID denier, deaths. That is not the same also, and this is what I said. I said, again, you made an accusation against Gina, and the evidence you provided completely disproved your point. Now you are making another accusation against her, and once again, your evidence completely disproves your point. In fact, she is doing the exact opposite of what you are claiming. Stop lying. So look at what she used this example. Mask for spray paint. This to protect you so you don't breathe in the fumes. Mask for mining. so you don't, you can have the oxygen. Masks for, what does this say? Sorry, it's white on white.
Yeah.
Okay, masks for the deadliest virus in the history, because that's what they're pitching to us, especially in America. It's like, you do realize that spray paint is not going to, cause you to die the way that COVID is going to die. Look at the precautions people use. I don't think I have it anymore. I think I broke it. But
what I'll say about this picture, though, and that's the thing that people don't, and that's, again, where it comes to the messaging, where the messaging got muddled. Because if the messaging wasn't muddled, what people would understand is the reason why cloth face masks are being propagated over any other better form of face protection is because those more advanced forms of breathing protection. And actually, there's two things about this too. One, N95 masks and up are in short supply in hospitals. They're being prioritized for people who actually have to work on the front lines with people who have COVID. So that, it's the reason for using the cloth masks over better forms of protection like N95 masks is not because the scientific community is aware that a cloth mask is significantly less effective than it needs to be. It's just better than nothing, and the things that are more effective are needed by other people. Now, the other thing is all these other types of masks, they work on a ventilation system. They actually even talked about those N95 masks that have a ventilation system. The thing with masks is you're trying to stop yourself from spreading the disease to others, not so much trying to stop others from spreading it to you. You can still touch the shit on, get all your body, whatever, etc. Ventilated masks don't stop that because they're only designed to ventilate the air out that you're breathing in, and you just breathe straight out your regular air. No ventilation whatsoever. It's a one-way vent, basically. So if you have a ventilated mask like that and you have COVID and you're like, I'm protected, you can go around a supermarket and infect 12 different people, getting over there coughing on them because you think you're totally safe and totally fine. And the reality is you're not actually those masks. If you want to get a ventilator mask, those kinds of breathing masks, you'll protect yourself. Great. But if you happen to catch the Rona, it's not going to protect other people. And that's
and I would just like to say, based on the numbers and more people have died from tuberculosis in last year and this year than people have died from COVID. And nobody shut down I remember a kid died from tuberculosis in a school, so they shut down the school and quarantined all the kids so that way it wouldn't spread. But still, tuberculosis is something that we have a fucking cure for, and more people have died of that than
sure about that.
What?
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, I was looking at the numbers the other night.
The numbers I'm saying all show that there's about 500 deaths from tuberculosis in the U.S. per year, like between 500 and 600.
We can talk. I don't have any of this stuff on me right now where I was doing my research because it was on my phone, not on my PC. But I don't want to spread misinformation by mistake or anything like that. Well, you guys can fact check me if you want, but when I was doing my research and looking at it, and even my parents, because my parents are at the age to get COVID, and talking about it and talking with their own doctors and how it's just the way that they feel about it. Where is this at?
But yeah, I just want to pull this up. This is just CDC real quick. 8,920 number of provisionally reported tuberculosis cases in the United States in 2019. So there were only 8,900 cases in the U.S. reported in 2019. And so certainly fewer deaths because, again, we do have a cure for it and all that stuff. So I'm not trying to split hairs or anything. I don't want to.
Let me find where I was looking at it then.
That's fine. That's literally the CDC website. I'm open to other statistics and other research and other evidence and whatnot and stuff. But that's just. The thing is, I
looking at is because one of my words. Oh, but let me see. Here, share. Go back to my screen because I still wasn't done with the whole.
Sorry. Yeah, Gina Carano, right?
I was looking at medical journals and stuff, but again, it's on my Safari on my phone. So let me find it. But
Hannah, I think eating piss covered. Hey, what about piss covered strawberries is going to become that's a nice boulder.
Here, oh my god. You know what? It's gonna take me too long because now my phone.
It doesn't matter. It's not a big deal. If you,
I'll send it to you, but I just remember looking at it and I'm like, looking at the numbers for different diseases.
and we can do an update because I just want to make sure we're getting, I just want to make sure the facts we give are correct. But please carry on. I'm all on board with this.
Okay, but basically, we can all agree that her in this is mainly saying, hey, why are there more precautions for something like this than something like this? Nowhere in this is she denying COVID. Nowhere in this is she saying not to wear a mask, correct?
She's not. No, at no point is she even denying the efficacy of masks. She's asking valid questions. And the reason we don't have those answers is because of our bullshit political system that's concerned with their own gain and not real science. But it's a totally valid, she's very much, everything she's saying, people should be paying more attention to because she is like the voice of so many Americans right now. She is the voice of so many people who aren't necessarily, she's not running around with Trump 2020 painted on her face. I don't know if she posts political things otherwise or not.
No, I mean, I think she's just saying from
what the Get Out and Vote tweet was get out and vote. It didn't endorse a candidate.
Yeah, she's never said I'm for this candidate or for this candidate. She's stayed completely neutral. The only thing that she did say was that it's an election year and people are using this to manipulate. And her saying it doesn't make sense that you're allowed to, I'm air quoting, peacefully protest, but you're not allowed to go to a church and socially distance. That a disease does not discriminate. That's what she's saying. But this person saying that she's a science and mask denier, I'm like, nowhere in this, if anything, she's bringing more to the table with the science and how this doesn't make sense.
Exactly. What she's asking, because I don't even see any of the things she's saying as her necessarily being like, this is wrong and this is bad. She's not drawing conclusions. She's asking questions. There's nothing wrong with asking questions.
Exactly. But now people are they're going after this girl in particular. And then I did a little research because, okay, so we go and the thing that really weirded me out was that she has the tweet and then she constantly retweets herself and she brags about being blocked. And I'm like, well, no shit. And again, you're adding The Mandalorian and Disney. Yeah, I wonder why Gina blocked you, because you're spreading lies about her. And then you go to her page and it's got all these things. She's got about 5,000 followers on here. And it's like, oh, why? Oh, because she cosplays. She's bragging about how much money she made. And then you go look and that she's a cosplayer. Okay. And her first tweet was about, I'm not going to cosplay as, Cara Dune's character. I'm not. And it's like, so you're basically trying to promote yourself as a cosplayer. Your next tweet was about my tweets getting attention. So all this lady is doing is she's obsessed with getting attention.
I really want to just tweet at her and be like, hey, if you don't want people to insult your intelligence, try not acting so fucking stupid all the time.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I want to say to her. Because it's like, she's adding Disney. Does she think Disney isn't aware of Gina Carano's public fucking Twitter profile? Like, who do you... It's just these idiotic, entitled fucking people that's like, I'm going to expose you and get you fired. First of all, why? You're going to get her fired because she has different opinions from you? That's the world we fucking live in. Sorry, I just want to pose this. I don't want to get into this too much, but someone said in the chat, I have the right to get sick and die if I want to, my body, my choice. I said, do you have the right to get someone else sick? And they said, yes. No, you don't. You actually don't. That's in our fucking constitution. My rights stop where yours begin. I don't have the right to do whatever I want to and infringe upon your other rights. That's the shit that drives me crazy when people are like, my rights, my freedom, my this. Yeah, but when your freedom is fucking up someone else's freedom, it's not okay anymore. That's all. Carry on. That comes up so many times, right, left, irrespective of whatever. It's just like, no, your rights, that's just not, your right stop where others begins. You don't have the right to take life. You don't have the right to harm other people. You don't. That right is not protected by this society or any society that you live in. Anyway, carry on. Please carry on.
No, I'm just saying that's all this is it's another, and this is kind of what I talked about earlier. It's like when you can spot clout chasing immediately. When I saw this and I was like, how, like, can you not read? Like, is English not your first language? How did you get from all of these tweets that you provided that she is denying COVID? And, somebody else showed me this same tweet because they said, oh, yeah, she told people not to wear masks. Nowhere in these, and they sent me, like, these tweets. And I'm like, she doesn't say anywhere in here not to wear a mask. She says that a disease doesn't, see, a disease does not know the difference between protest or praise and worship. We're still allowed to go to the grocery store. We're still allowed to go to the doctor's office, 2 places where people touch things, and you are at a high risk because everyone has to go to these 2 places, doctor's office and grocery store, to get things to survive. And you have a very high risk of going there, and it's all indoors. Excuse me. But people are allowed to go, and they're all wearing masks and they're socially distancing. So it doesn't make sense why, if you want to go to church, and I remember, I don't know if you saw this, but I think it's a priest or a minister, but he said, "Oh, we're gonna have a peaceful protest," and it was actually to have everyone come to church, and they were, and it was he called it a peaceful protest. That's how they were allowed to do it.
That was people were saying shit like that. They're like, I saw that because people were putting out ordinances where it was like, you can't have a gathering of more than 10 people, but you can have a protest of up to 100, and it's like, great. All right. Well, protest in my backyard, guys. Bring the burgers, bring the buns. Like,
we're all peaceful.
Outraged.
And so that's why it's very hypocritical. But so my thing, I'm like, okay, she's adding them. She's not adding Gina, which is honestly, she's using screenshots. That's kind of a dick move. If you're going to say something, say it to the person's face. Don't be a coward. But then she goes and she constantly retweets herself. I'm like, again, like what? That's such a strange thing to do. Okay, Bobby, I never said it doesn't exist.
We appreciate super chat, and this is for everyone. I mean, for anyone else,
I never said COVID doesn't exist. I'm very aware that it exists.
We want to put that out there. Anna has not at any point ever denied COVID whatsoever. In any of the experiences I've had with her, has never denied it in any way. So I just want to put that out there.
Trust me, the reason where I'm getting my stuff from, I don't want to dox anyone, but I have relatives that are medical doctors. One of my best friends is a doctor. Okay.
Oh, he's saying no. He agrees with you.
Okay.
He agrees with you. He's talking. I think he was agreeing with you about the people, the protesting and the bullshit and stuff like that.
No, I mean, okay. Let's say that the protests weren't going on. Let's say it was an election year or was not an election year. How different do you think things would be right now?
So different. Fucking so different. If this was next year, let's say it was next year, or the end of a term, a second term, something like that, where he wasn't worried about re-election or something like that. Even if it was the beginning of a second term, so re-election wasn't even on the table. It would have been totally different. I think it would have 100% different. You wouldn't have had on so many levels. I think
me and people have been joking, and I think it's actually pretty spot on. Depending on what happens in November, COVID is probably going to end or either get drastically worse.
Yeah, but not the way people think.
Yeah. Obviously, there's going to be variations, but I'm like,
yeah, I think that's my take on that one is yes, but not the way people think. I think people are thinking about it in a very certain way, and I think that things will happen kind of the opposite of their expectations, if that makes sense. And that's as political as I'm going to get today.
Yeah. But so I just saw that, and I'm like, how the way that people straw man arguments and put words into Gina's mouth, nowhere in that. And I'm trying to find the one now where somebody responded saying that she's not wearing a mask, and I straight up said, I'm like, no, again, can you guys not fucking read? Oh, okay, I found it here. Share my screen real fast.
Yeah. Actually, what I found scrolling through Gina Carano's Twitter feed? Fucking found an Eminem quote about, I don't care who you are, I'll like you, just the same.
Okay,
it's not acceptable anymore. Liking people for just being people is not acceptable anymore. You have to like black people better than other people because they're more virtuous.
So this is what this person, and I'm 100%. If there's something that I haven't seen, bring me the evidence. It's basically, it's like being a judge. Okay, you see one lawyer's, you see all the evidence, and you kind of, or maybe a jury, I should say. I see all the evidence, and I form my opinion based on the evidence. If you bring new evidence to the table, I'm going to reform my opinion based on all the evidence. So this person said, I saw Carano's tweet. She is encouraging people to go out without a mask. That is irresponsible. The person is telling the truth. And I said, show me the tweets. I've never seen them. In the one the person provided, she did not. She did no such thing. And they said, here you go. Again, open up your businesses and churches, put whatever regulations you want.
Whatever regulations you want to, you can add up to and including mask wearing.
You're telling me that COVID-19 knows the difference between protest and praise worship. I haven't been to, so this is the exact same tweet that one person used. And I even said, again, here's my reply. Again, that was one of the same tweets the person used. Nowhere in this tweet is she encouraging people to not wear masks. I don't understand if reading comprehension is not taught in schools anymore, or why people see that. Nowhere in this did she say that. Absolutely nowhere. I don't understand why people are making these leapfrogs on some. This is also a person that none of these people know personally. Like, if you were to say something, Jesse, and you're inferring something without saying it, I probably would have a better idea of what you mean based on somebody that doesn't know you, because I know your mannerisms, I know the way that you think and stuff. These people are making assumptions on somebody they don't know anything about.
Yeah, exactly. It's so, and it's like, the thing is, it's just that wanting, they're attacking her with such vitriol, and they're making up this bullshit because they don't want to face the truth, which is she has a fucking point. You know, if you're saying it's okay to go out and protest in mass gatherings of thousands of people, then how is it not okay to do other important things that people want to and need to do? Like, that's the whole thing. And it was what I was going back to, you know, when I was talking to this guy earlier, it's like, you can't have it both ways. If you want everyone to stay home and you don't want to let people work and all that shit, you have to provide. You have to be, you know, and that's like, you have to show up. You have to supplement paychecks. You have to put a moratorium on evictions. You have to, and you have to go through at every level. You know, so people who are losing business, who are losing their business, you know, need to be supplemented. Landlords who are not getting rent paid to them need to be supplemented. Every fucking person, if you want to step in and say, stay home, we're going to counter this shit right now, you know, we're going to get rid of this, then you need to make sure every fucking person that you're telling to do that is taken care of to the utmost, right? And the flip is like, if you're not going to take care of people, you can't put any regulations in place and see what happens, you know? That's like,
well, I was talking about this with one of my friends because they were getting like really, really, really upset about, you know, they basically think that everyone should be kind of kept indoors and not have any contact. And I'm like, that is not going to work. That's not how society works. And I even use this analogy because I'm like, how do I kind of explain this to someone? Because I mean, both of my parents are in their 60s. They're in that risk factor. Obviously, my mom is not healthy. My mom has had cancer a few times now. So my mom is more at risk than my father would be. But because my dad had perfect bill of health, I'm knocking on wood right now. But okay, both of my parents, they're like, we want to live our lives. We, you know, we'll wear our masks, we're socially distanced. And again, I'm still mind blown that people need to taught how to wash their hands, and it blows my mind that people do stand within 6 feet of each other, because I'm like, I am like the most antisocial person on the face of the planet. Nobody usually comes in my bubble, and if they do, you kind of make a point, why the fuck are you in my bubble? But so I was trying to explain to my friend, I'm like, there have been plagues since the history of human fucking kind. When the Black Death was going on, the bubonic plague, yeah, they had these section of the cities that were blocked off for people that were plague victims, and yes, it was running rampant, and it was not good. But again, they don't have the medical procedures that they have now. They don't have the safety precautions. They don't even have, you know, medicine, or they didn't have medicine back then. But guess what? Even though knowing all of that, the world didn't shut down, because people still needed to provide for and feed for their families. They were as safe as they possibly could be at that time. And again, I don't think they also knew exactly how things spread. But even look, when somebody, let's say a lower class person that has to work to provide for, you know, their wife and a fucking buttload of children, because they didn't have birth control back then either. They still had to go out knowing that they could potentially get this disease and die and not be able, you know, if they, let's say the man couldn't provide for the family anymore, because back then women didn't work, they had to take care of their buttload of fucking children. They would still go out and risk it, because it was, we have to provide for our families. If we don't go out and, you know, if we don't go out, our family's not going to get food. If we do go out, our family could get food, but I could eventually die. So if you look at that from the history of fucking humanity, there's always been plagues. Shit, people die. I'm sorry, that's an aspect of fucking life. People are going to die. I know better than anyone at this fucking point. People are gonna fucking die. It sucks. There's no if, and, ors about it. My heart goes out to people that are dealing with that. But at the end of the day, the world goes on. And I think that's one of the hardest things of dealing with death is knowing that it sucks and you're in pain, but the world doesn't stop just because people die.
It's a sad reality. Sorry, I didn't mean to yell that. My voice cracked out there. I was like, I gotta say this. No, you're absolutely right, as dour as it is. So on to something, a quick little change over here to get to a nice little.
Sorry.
Okay, so we don't want to leave things in a super downer. So Bobby James sent this a little while ago, but clearly is still hanging tight with us. So thank you for another very generous super chat, Bobby James. You're nothing but amazing. Also, thank you for all your work out there on the front lines. And any medics, any first responders, any doctors, nurses, etc., who are going through hell, they're dealing with the worst of this of all of us. So much love to anybody, on the front lines dealing with the sickness and whatnot, because fuck, it sucks. And it's true. People are going to die, and people do die. And some people have to be confronted with that more than others in their lives. And it fucking sucks. That's all. Bobby James says, if you could pick a legend story for Star Wars, what would it be? So I, as a more limited Legends person, have not delved too deeply into the Legends universe, but the one that I actually read, I think twice even, was the Han Solo trilogy, and I liked it enough that I would even after Solo came out, I'm like, if we had to do a Han Solo origin, I like that one. I think AC Crispin was the author. I think it's totally true to his character. It explains. It does what Solo fails to do. Solo tries to explain all the minutiae that don't matter. How did they just started playing out loud? Okay, that's fine. I was like, what? It explains whatchamacallit. I just totally lost my train of thought now. Solo explains these stupid minutia elements that we don't fucking care about, like where his last name came from, and shit like that.
It's a last fucking name.
It's a fucking name. Who cares? He got it. The end. Solo,
I'm not sitting here going, Jesse, why is your last name Milestone? Let's do a whole story to come up with why Jesse's last name is Milestone.
Honestly, because someone couldn't pronounce whatever Polish name my family came over with. The end. It doesn't need a fucking line in a movie for it. Like, it's not that things no one cared about. What AC Crispin did really nicely, though, is set up why Han is who he is. From his correct answer, Dr. Commonhouse, from his parents.
I know. It's so fucking stupid.
So I would go with that one, especially now, because it would be a redemption for the crap they gave us with Solo. That would be my legend story, is the A.P. Crispin Han Solo origin. It fits so perfectly and fluidly with the world. It fits so consistently with his character. And actually, it even tangentially touches on the story that they, turned into Rogue One. The mission to get the plans and whatnot, which is cool too. So it ties, but it doesn't do it it ties itself into the narrative in a logical way, and here's Han. So book one is kid Han becoming young, very, very young, sort of striking out his own. And the second one is a lot of his development as a person. And the third one, it's really a well done trilogy, because the third one is the only one that really seeks to tie stuff back in. So there's vague references to the rebellion, and this chick he meets is part of it and stuff. But he has the attitude that we meet him with at the beginning of the movies. I don't want to get involved in this rebellion shit. And we watch him lose his childlike optimism to become the person he is, as opposed to somehow gain this weird optimism that he somehow loses in the next few years before the movie. And then it's that's the whole bullshit about Solo. It's you show me this great origin story. Okay, great. Now show me the movie where this little twat becomes Han Solo, because that's not this movie. So that stuff.
I'm one of those people that when I have an idea, I try to branch out and see how I can expand that idea as much as possible. So what I would do is I would do a series. Disney is trying to really pitch their fucking platform. And so there are some stories that are told better through series than they are through movies and TV shows. So what I would do is I would completely outline the whole Revan story from KOTOR 1 and then also have a spin-off as far as KOTOR 2. I would set that as purposely being only like maybe for Revan, maybe 3 to 5 seasons. Have all of that outlined, written, and planned out before you start filming. Make sure the entire cast, you have to have them sign on for that entire thing, no out of the contracts, because that is one of my biggest pet peeves is when people get recasted. And then maybe about you introduce around, or maybe when they get to about season later on, season 3 midpoint, let's say if it's going to be 5 seasons, whenever you get to the midpoint, that's when you introduce the exile character in Revan's storyline, or maybe from the beginning, but then that's how people know. So that way, because that comes into KOTOR 2, and then there can be a spin-off show that starts when KOTOR, the one KOTOR series ends. KOTOR 2 is based off this character that we already know because it was introduced in the KOTOR 1 series. Again, limited. This one it will have to be, maybe it doesn't have to be exactly, but it does have to be shorter than the KOTOR series. Knights of the Old Republic, guys, that's what KOTOR is. And so
I was just excited that you were talking about it.
Oh gosh. Okay, so sorry, it was very very fast when you had it up, and I'm trying to get this point without getting distracted. So then you have, let's say, Revan. So the Revan story, five seasons. Maybe that's a little bit too long. Maybe 3. Perfect, well written, the way that you have stories, and that can be the 3 acts. You have season 1, you have season 2, you have season 3. When they introduce the Revan, when you finally get to the Revan backstory, and that's when you would meet the exile character, and so that character is in the show with Revan. And so when they do the spinoff, it's like, wow, it's this character that we already know, that we've already grown attached to, and now we're going to see that. So then you have the secondary show, which is the KOTOR 2 show. And in that's when you get to meet Kreia. And so then from Kreia, we can do another spinoff show that is the backstory of Kreia and diving more into Kreia's character, because she is my favorite character in KOTOR, in the entire KOTOR. I loved Kreia. And when you look at the actual, how everything worked out and played out, I actually preferred KOTOR 2 much more to KOTOR 1. So then we have Revan established, we have Malik established, we have the exile, we have Kreia. And then I just gave you 3 TV shows for Disney Plus. Then after that, after that, you have, Kreia, the Kreia backstory, and then Darth Bane can be done at the exact same time. Again, Darth Bane would be a very close-knit series, and so you can do Bane takes place over a decades worth of time. So you do the Darth Bane, and so Darth Bane is the Sith Lord that created the Rule of 2, and he was learning from Revan's holocron. So he learned from Revan's teachings. And so because we already know Revan, we know the exile, we know Kreia, this is, years and years and years and years in the future. Revan's been long dead. And so we get to see where the Rule of 2 came from. There, I just gave you 4 series that's going to span over years, and you have, air quote, diverse casting. And I just planned out basically the next decade for Disney and Disney Plus. You're fucking welcome. I know Disney loves to steal my fucking ideas. And I kind of regret talking. And okay, so, and along at the same time, you want to have the past. So you got KOTOR, you got that era. You can do the sequels as well. And then those can be your big movies. So you could do scratch Disney fan fiction sequel trilogy. I have no problem casting younger actors being, so like Sebastian Stan, how he looks a lot like Luke. Do the Thrawn trilogy and then do the Thrawn duology. Emily Blunt is Mara Jade. I don't care what anyone else says. She would be perfect as Mara Jade. Emily Blunt, Sebastian Stan, Luke Skywalker, Mara Jade. I'm kind of more open as compared to who could be Han Solo and Princess Leia. Antonio Banderas for Talon Card. Thrawn, I would want to be John Hamm while they're still alive. That can be your movies. I just worked out the next decade for fucking Disney. I got your movies. I got your TV shows that are all going to grow. The TV shows are going to grow Disney Plus. The movies are going to make you the millions of dollars. You're fucking welcome, you assholes that steal my fucking compositions.
There you go. Hope you're listening, Disney, because you just got another free fucking idea, you assholes.
I know.
Bobby James has Shadows of the Empire. Thoughts? Especially you, Anna, that Star Wars.
Oh, that's what I just talked about.
So that came in there as well. Okay, so that was the Thrawn stuff and all that. Yeah, okay. I remember you talking about that because I don't know the Shadows of the Empire book stories as well that at all. I just know the game.
No. Shadows of that's the prince dude that I can never pronounce his fucking name, right?
Or whatnot. I don't know. I don't know. I've heard that's of that story a little bit. I've heard people are into the comic. Okay, it's a comic.
No, but they have I have so I have the comic, but then there's also a book. It's about Prince what's his face.
Okay, so
I have the action figures. I think I showed this on stream. I literally pulled it off my wall, but I'm like, I have the comic book toy that comes with like the Boba Fett. I haven't.
So the comic book is more is the
okay,
comic
you can play that into the movies with because that takes place. I think that's between Empire and Return of the Jedi, right? It's been a long time.
Comic, yes, it is. Well,
I can't pronounce his fucking name, guys. I'm sorry. Yeah, the prince. I have his action figure.
So Prince Caesar. Okay.
Okay, yeah. And then again, Leia, and I think it was on our other Matriarchy show, and I pulled up Princess Leia where she's in the purple slave outfit. That's like a bodysuit. But yes, let me just say, I think with full fucking confidence, I can plan out Disney's entire next 10 years, if not 20 years.
Oh God, they should fucking hire you. Seriously. You could be like the fucking Kevin Feige of fucking Disney Star Wars, and have the years of shit. Okay, so Dash Rendar is only tangentially a part of. That's what my understanding. Dash Rendar is only tangentially a part of the Shadows of the Empire books and comics. Anna, did you ever play Shadows of the Empire on the N64?
I did not, because my mom said I was weird enough already, and then we were not allowed to play video games.
You should get an N64 and play Shadows of the Empire. That should be your next Star Wars game. It's so good. I would watch a movie based on that game, honestly. That was a great freaking game.
I know about it. I mean, I knew who Dash Rendar was, but I've never played it. I'm making my way slowly through the games. I played KOTOR, and I played KOTOR 2, which I absolutely loved. Of course, here's the thing. KOTOR did not get spoiled for me. I did not see the plot twist coming at all, and I was losing my fucking mind. And then, again, KOTOR 2 did not get spoiled for me, but there's not as much of a plot twist in that. You kind of know by the ominous tale of it that there was something going on. But yeah.
Fun. What was I? I want to say it was actually funny because it was the clout chasing thing that reminded me of this thing I wanted to ask you really quickly. Because I thought it was interesting. We spent a lot of time last week on John Boyega. We read that whole interview. Am I? Okay, cool. We read that whole interview, which I thought was fascinating. I'm so glad we did because it really, I learned so much about him, and I thought it was just really interesting to contrast that against some of the other shit that's going on right now. Chiefly, a month or two ago, we had Ray Fisher coming out putting Joss Whedon on blast, starting with a Instagram post and then following up with a very vague interview, and I think some more stuff has sort of been trickling out about that. And apparently Aquaman stands with Ray Fisher, says I stand with Ray Fisher and all this stuff.
What blows my mind is why didn't they just come out straight up and say what happened?
Exactly. So and if you recall, we first learned about this in an Instagram post from Ray Fisher, just saying I retract what I say about
that was
Whedon, and then nothing else for a week, a fucking week after dropping this little nugget. So I don't know if you agree or not, but to me, the Ray Fisher is, and that's it highlights how I think how genuine. Currently, I can't pronounce that word today. John Boyega was about a lot of the ways and the way he presented himself. Ray Fisher, to me, whether or not he has a point, is just clout chasing. Is just trying to stay relevant. Is just looking for attention, looking for props. Fucking John Boyega's out there with the megaphone. Just off the cuff saying some of the most powerful shit that anyone said during it was coming out during that time. And you got Ray Fisher here being like, I was a victim of racism too. Pay attention to May. That's kind of how it reads to me. Am I? Is that does anyone else read it? Feel like it that way, or is like? Does anyone else?
It did at first, but then I watched that interview on like the DC. Was it DC fandom or was it? It was before that. It was when Comic-Con was going around, but they did like a DC version of it. It wasn't fandom. It was before that. But so I watched the segment where he's talking to like these three very SJW-esque women, and he was basically explaining that he's been in bad work environments before, and he actually created a union at one of his past jobs. And then he's like, I can live very humbly. I don't mind if I lose everything with this. But he's like, I've spent ever since that happened, I've spent all of my time gathering up my evidence so I could build up a court case that actually has evidence that's not just on allegations, so that way when I do he's like, that's why I waited. And so the way that he said it, and he was basically saying like, these were not like work environments that anyone should have to put up with. And so the way that he was explaining it, it sounded very reasonable, but at the same time, I think Ethan made a really good point. He's like, okay, well, like if he called you an N-word, if he said this and that, like, why wouldn't you say that? Like, then he's like, then yeah, it's like, oh yeah, he was calling you the N-word on set. Yeah, of course, that's completely unacceptable. Oh, he went over the contract and he was treating you like shit. Yeah, okay, that's a very like understandable thing. Like kind of like, like not allowing chairs on set, not allowing, and it's like, but so it's like at least give people, like all you said was like, oh shit happened, and it's like, and people are just expected to believe you. I'm like, you need to kind of give a little bit.
Because I'm reading right here too from Variety. Warner Media launched an investigation charging Fisher's accusations. Blah blah blah. And he said, following the news, Fisher wrote in August, I believe this investigation will show Jeff Johns, Joss Whedon, John Berg, and others grossly abused their power during uncertainty at AT&T's merger with Time Warner. Tensions re-escalated last week when Warner Media released a statement saying Fisher refused to cooperate after the media company initiated an investigation and hired a separate independent third-party investigator. So this investigator has attempted multiple times to meet with Mr. Fisher to discuss his concerns, but to date, Mr. Fisher has declined to speak with the investigator.
And so see, that's a very big red flag that contradicts what he was saying in that interview. So that's why I'm like, I like to see things from the people. Like, I don't like to read things. I like to go find actual video or audio evidence. Visuals are better. Audio, you can kind of hear the tone of a person's voice, but the things that he was saying is contradicting what is coming out. And so I'm like, unless they're trying to protect someone, like that's my only thing is like, because I try to put myself in a person's shoes. It's like, what if I did that, if I was in his shoes, somebody did something bad, at what instance would I not provide the evidence? And it makes me think of Legally Blonde, where it's like, oh yeah, I know her alibi, I know she didn't do it, but I can't say it because it will do something bad. Like, I'm like, that is the only, like, that in my mind is the only explanation as to why he's not saying so. It's either he's lying or he's blowing it out of proportion for clout, or there's something.
Or there's something else. There's a smoking gun we don't know about. He apparently, Fisher said he did speak on August 26th to an investigator via Zoom, but cut the conversation short because he wanted to consult his team before proceeding. He's been dodging them for weeks now, months even possibly, and so he's been dodging these investigators, and he finally talks to them and cuts it short because, he needs to consult his legal. Hasn't he consulted his legal team yet? I mean, that to me just sounds like this whole it's starting to sound like that veiled threat that people do, and they're like, oh, I'm going to call my lawyer, like, I can't talk to you without talking to my lawyers first. And again, like the whole way, again, to just originally, if you, having gone through this kind of shit, he's not behaving like somebody who has a case that he's going to bring against these people. He's behaving like somebody who has personal grievances and doesn't have a case and is trying to use sensationalize things to make his point, basically to get his way, you know. And this is something like I could be wrong, but I'm just like I'm looking at it. I'm looking at this reflected in my own life. I'm looking at it reflected in like when I've been a referee. I've had plenty of issues. I've had plenty of issues in the workplace with unfair treatment, highly discriminatory treatment on the basis of my gender, as well as just other minority related, social justice related elements, just discriminated against for being who I am. I have handled it in different ways depending on the situation. I have, and the way he's doing it is the way I would handle something when I had a personal beef with somebody, did not like them, and wanted to utilize whatever information I could to damage their reputation. I've done that, sure. We've all done that. People, maybe we haven't all done that. But the fencing world, I'll get into it one day. It's a messed up place. It's very political. It's very shitty. And sometimes your only recourse in, I have to deal with a shitty person. They're the boss of me. They're taking advantage of me. If I destroy some of their reputation, maybe they'll lose the stature and I'll benefit, So that's what I've done in that situation. Now, in a situation where I have an airtight case, when I have evidence, when I have proof, when I have, here you fucking go, bitches, I don't run my mouth all over social media about it first. I don't go give these little teaser interviews, but I can't say anymore until my legal team gets involved. I don't do shit like that. I don't fucking tell anybody until it's done. Because the thing is, if you're actually ramping to a real lawsuit, to real litigation and shit like that, that's based on something more than media sensationalizing, right? To me, you lose when you show your cards that soon, that quickly. You lose something because you're giving the other side time to build up their counter argument. You do so much better when you have all your ducks in a row. You show up and you're like, knock, knock, you've been served. Let's go to fucking court, bitches. Press conference out the door, go. That's how you handle it when you have these legitimate grievances that you want to handle in a legal way. This to me sounds like he's just trying to have his cake and eat it too. He wants the attention. He wants to be the victim of poor me. I've suffered racial injustice. It's so terrible. And then he wants to turn around though and not actually do anything about it that could potentially jeopardize his. Oh, let me pick on Joss Whedon because he's not that important. He doesn't have any ties. It's not going to affect.
Joss Whedon kind of has a bit of a reputation as well.
He does. I'm not saying he's the greatest guy. I think that's probably why. I'm also not saying that he didn't do or say anything wrong to Ray Fisher. I'm not excusing any of his actions or behaviors that could be, shitty as well. But certainly his actions, the way he's conducting himself about this, to me, don't ring as true. And it's the two wrongs don't make a right. If injustice was done to you, there's still a way to deal with it. All you're trying to do is boost your own credibility while dragging someone else's guy through the mud. And that it just doesn't sit right with me, if that makes sense,
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious to see how it unfolds. I just thought it was interesting to touch on that because it's so different than the way John Boyega's been handling things, where he's just went out, gave this long sort of tell-all interview. He didn't even lead with Star Wars. It's not like he went there to lambast Disney or throw him under the bus or anything like that. He went and just had an interview, and a long, very candid discussion. And I respect that a lot more because, getting into some of the more vulnerable elements, talking about very personal things in his life, in his childhood, discussing why. And this, I could go back, I read it, I'm interested to go back and see his remarks, but even something like that, Ray Fisher, if he wants to be like, I've started unions and I've done this and I've done all this good, it still sounds like, I'm sure that things are true, but the way he's presenting himself still sounds more like he's tooting his own horn.
Yeah. And we've all been in that kind of work environment where because I don't know I don't know a single person that has ever, just had complete, unless, they've only had one job and they just got along all with every single coworker magically. But I feel like every single person I've ever interacted with has whatchamacallit. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by the chat. But
side in there too.
yeah, I don't know if it was being a joke or not, but sarcasm. But yes, see, this is why I don't have the chat open to distract me. Let me make my point. But I feel like human beings, we all have a different way of doing things. And so that is going to create conflict, especially in a working environment when you're trying to get stuff done. And maybe you're working with somebody that does things differently than you. And so you're going to clash heads. Like so when I was living up in San Francisco, I was working and I had this certain job title. And then when I moved down to Southern California, I took a step back. And so it wasn't like I got demoted. I was purposely taking less of a workload on and having less of, I purposely made sure that I wasn't in a certain job position so that way I could be doing multiple things because I do freelance art, and so I didn't want to focus on this one company. I wanted to do other things as well and work doing things. But so another girl that I found out was, I thought that she was older than me. Turns out she was younger than me, but she was in the same position that I had originally had. And she didn't like the way I did things, even though I never had any, never broke the rules, never did anything wrong, always got my work done on time and efficiently. She didn't like my process. And so we would butt heads a lot. And I didn't say anything. I would come home or, I would bitch about it to like my friends or Peaches or like other people that I worked with that had the same issues. And it wasn't necessarily a jealousy thing. It was more of the fact that she knew that I had the position that she had. And so, and I did things differently. And the fact that I still got the job done, she felt, I believe, in a way that I was threatening her job. And so she needed to affront herself in that position. So she was it was beyond the point of being difficult with me. It was, she was making the work environment so hostile that I did eventually, say to that company, I'm like, I can no longer work for you guys. I can no longer work with this person. And well, not just that I can no longer work with it, but I have other things that I could be doing. And I used to have a loyalty to this company and getting work done for this company. But now I have been so, I have a really bad taste in my mouth because of this one coworker that I'm not going to do it. If you guys really need me, you have my contact information, but I don't have the time, patience, or energy to put up with this person anymore. And, we got to the point where one of, another person that was in the same position saw when we did have to, work physically together. Cause again, freelance, you don't really, unless you're coming in for a meeting and doing stuff. It finally somebody had seen, because usually everything was just back and forths and, Skype meetings and all of that. And so I had voiced kind of my concerns, but I didn't make a big deal about it. But then once it was seen, and once, somebody that was in, a higher up position saw and they asked me directly about it, I explained it. And so then they became more aware because they saw it. And so there's different ways to handle certain situations. Also, it's how much are you willing to take? Obviously, if I had to go in and, be in an office and work next to this person, there's no way I would have lasted as long as I did, because Jesse, you would have probably punched this chick in the face.
I would have. I don't put up with that kind of bullshit. No, it sucks.
When you're doing remote working, it's easier because it's like you can just close.
Oh God, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that okay, I can deal with you if I don't actually have to deal with you. There are plenty of people in my life. There's plenty of people in my life that I like a lot when I don't have to see them. I want to read a couple of super chats that were on our Star Wars topic, our previous Star Wars topic, before we, dive in. But there was one other quick thing that I wanted to go over. Boys related, actually. Jordan Dambrini, thank you for the super chat. Says, I've always wanted to see a Game of Thrones type adaptation of the Star Wars book Labyrinth of Evil with McGregor and Christensen as the leads. It would have been sick. I don't know that book at all, but I'm just picturing, McGregor, Christensen coming together, doing some badass Star Wars shit, and I'm on board. So, have you read Labyrinth of Evil? Is that one of the ones you know at all?
Let me look at. I have a shit ton of Star Wars books. The second I hear Labyrinth, I'm like, David Boy.
I mean, clearly it's something. It's an Obi-Wan Anakin thing.
Then no, I haven't read it.
But
Well,
I mean, I
have it. I'm looking at the cover right now. I have this book. I haven't read it.
Yeah. I mean, I would have loved to see, you know, like an epic Game of Thrones production level, you know, kind of short, like limited series kind of TV show kind of thing. I keep saying kind of. Why? What is wrong with my English today? You know, with Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor together. I think actually would have been really fun. Their dynamic was the best part of some of the, you know, a couple of the prequels. So like the Attack of the Clones, their dynamic together, I thought was really, really good. In spite of it not being, you know, the greatest movie ever, there's some moments that work, and some of their interplay was that. And now I'm making weird hand signals while I talk. And Jeffrey Turner, aka Mega One, thank you for the super chat again. Says Prince Caesar is the man, nearly seduced Leia naked. Ooh, steamy. Yeah. So you and I are obviously very into The Boys. We spent hours talking about it last Friday, and
yeah, I finally fucking finished it.
Now you're caught up now. Woo, what did you think?
Oh, it was so good. So you know, Homelander's my favorite.
Oh yeah.
So the part like at the end when he's just like he wants to fucking strangle Stormfront, and like the way she's just smirking, I'm like, yes, we got two villains, and they're, you know, at odds with each other. And I love the fact that nobody but the audience knows that she's freaking racist as hell.
Yeah,
exactly. He doesn't even know. And the other characters don't know. Well, certain character, I won't say anything because you don't want to know any spoilers.
But yeah, I'm so stoked. It's interesting thing that's been happening this past week. People are, and this seemed to have happened. Interestingly enough, like this seemed to have happened since the first 3 episodes dropped, which I think has to do with them not being very forthcoming. Amazon not being very forthcoming about the release schedule. It was out there. The information was out there. And I do remember a moment of like, oh, wait, they're not dropping The Boys all at once? Huh, okay, weird. Moving on. But it wasn't like, I thought it was a little shady that they really should have made it, you know, they should have been more of a episodes 1 through 3 available on this date, you know? I thought there was a little bit of a whatchamacallit. You know, I thought there was a little bit of it was a little bit deceitful. And so people have been review bombing The Boys because of the staggered release. And Eric Kripke interview defending this choice, saying our feeling is that once it airs all 8 at once, it becomes a sugar rush of a binge. People burn through it in a week or 2. There's an intense amount of activity, then it sort of fades. There's so many great moments in season 2. We want to give it time to marinate so people can reflect on it and talk about it before they move on to the next thing and be in the conversation a little longer. I think
which is fucking smart. I think this is how shows have been released since the history fucking TV shows until Netflix came out with the entire binge, and then people got addicted to that because people are impatient. I'm very guilty of this. I'm very impatient. But I think for a company, if I was in charge, there is no way in hell I would ever release the one season at once. Weekly. I think it was okay that they released the first 3 episodes and then they're going to go episodic from there, or, you know, 1 week release at a time. I'm fine with that. They wanted to do a big, like, hey, here you go. Let's get you interested and then let's go. But exactly right. It's talked about for like 2 weeks and then it's gone.
Yeah.
Go back to weekly episodes.
Now, Jeff is on the other side of this. Jeff does not like that they're doing it this way. I don't. It's interesting because like there's the consumer. There's multiple standpoints. I 100%. First of all, I really like the honesty to come out and just say, you know, not trying to make up some bullshit of like COVID or this or that. To just come out right out and say like, no, we thought that it would, you know, keep it in the conversation, would keep it more relevant, it would keep it more interesting for people to do it this way. Mm-hmm. Something like The Boys specifically, there is so much to digest every week. And the nice thing is you're getting an hour of a show. You know, like Game of Thrones, where like you get this fucking 70-minute show, but like nothing happens for half the damn episode. You know, you're getting an hour-long show where every moment stuff happens. You know, I can take a week to digest that, you know. So there's a part of me that's like, I understand the logic from their standpoint 100%. The consumer in me wants to just binge it, you know, absolutely does not want to have to wait. I'm a person also like who frequently, I will wait till shows go off the air so I can watch them all at once because I don't like that waiting. I hate it.
Yeah.
fine, it's good, it's all that stuff. It's got a place and a purpose. But then the third way to look at it, as a creator, I love this because it gives me more. What he said is exactly right. If they drop the whole season at once, we get maybe a week's worth of unless there's something really controversial, we get maybe a week's worth of talking about the boys, making videos on the boys. And it's not about, I want to do it because I want more content for me. I love this show. I love talking about it. I love having something that I enjoy to talk about rather than just hating things. And so having now, a whole extra month to talk about the boys, a month and a half to talk about the boys. Herrenberg, people were just going on review sites and just giving it like 1-star reviews and stuff because they were mad about that. Now, the thing about the review bombing, I'm mixed on. I hate this idea of like, you can review bomb this because fuck you, I didn't even watch it. I'm just mad about this shit. I don't like that as a concept. The flip side is, how else are people going to communicate their displeasure about that decision to Amazon?
Okay, that just tells me, because here's the thing. I can only speak for like my own experience and the way that I perceive things. I can try to be empathetic and see the way that other people are seeing things and how they feel about things. But I myself know, I'm an adult. I have a shit ton of stuff to do every single day, and time is very precious. Yes, I am a content creator. I create videos because people ask for it and people like it. And if they didn't, I would not do this. So I have never gone and reviewed something. And doesn't matter. I've never gone and written a review for a movie or a TV show on IMDb, on Rotten Tomatoes, on, I guess, Amazon. Never. If Amazon comes up and it asks a question like, "Oh, is this too violent?" and it's like, "Hey, you bought this. Oh, is like this size fit? Is this like this?" And it doesn't give out any personal information. And it's like, if I know the answer and I have time, I'll say yeah, or no, and explain yes or no and why. So when I see people do that, and I'm like, you must have a lot of free time, maybe, because it's COVID, but this happens all the time with things getting review bombed. But it's like, what are you doing if you have all of this time to go and jump on the bandwagon and review bomb something?
And clearly these were the 5 extra hours they had set aside to watch all of the boys at once.
Well, see, what I do is I would do it on my own platform. I would say it on Facebook. I would that's how my channel actually got started, was because I posted on Facebook. I didn't go and review The Last Jedi on Rotten Tomatoes. I didn't go review it anywhere. I posted on my Facebook timeline, this movie is fucking shit. It's not Star Wars. What the fuck did I watch? And then people asked me why, and it got, one thing led to another, and then I had a YouTube channel all of a sudden. So I don't know, maybe that's just me. I'll talk about the way I feel about it on my own platform, whether it be my Facebook, whether it be my Twitter. I won't go and reviews, I'll do my own review on my channel. I won't go post it somewhere else, if that makes sense.
You are 100% right. Absolutely. I mean, the whole reason, and that's part of, I think that actually makes more sense, is if you look at The Last Jedi, we just made videos. When I made my Last Jedi review, I had no idea what the result of that was going to be. I just hated this movie and wanted to fucking yell about it to my 67 subscribers because I wanted to yell about it, period. And then, turns out it's a popular opinion. So you're 100% right. If people tweet about it, if it's a popular opinion, if other people are feeling the same way, those tweets will get upvotes. Those tweets will get, will get retweeted, will get spread around, and Amazon will catch wind of that easily. Somebody from some, lame-ass fucking website that just trolls Twitter for looking for content will write an article about it, and Amazon will figure it out that way. There's something that just strikes me as so childishly immature about, like, I'm going to go and bitch about this thing literally because I didn't get it all right now. Like,
that just sounds like Farouk assault.
Yeah, exactly. It's one thing for
Daddy, I want a golden goose. Daddy, I want this. Daddy, I want that. And then she goes on the thing and she's a bad egg.
Exactly. It's one thing for Jeff and I to sit here and go, man, fuck Amazon. Why didn't they give us the boys all at once? I want to watch more boys right now. It's a totally different thing to go on a website, review something, and go like, I can't believe this is trash because you didn't give it to me all at once the way I wanted it.
You sound like a spoiled rotten brat when you do that.
For your enjoyment, and you're having a temper tantrum online. Again, the criticism, dislike it all you want, that's fine. But you're throwing a temper tantrum online because you fucking didn't get everything you wanted the way you wanted. When guess what? The whole stupid thing about it, it's like everyone's not paying attention to this shit because you're gonna line up next Friday to watch The Boys. In 2 days, you're gonna watch that next episode as soon as it fucking drops. You know? So you're you're literally just throwing a temper tantrum because you wanted to. And now you got all this attention because everyone's like, oh, review bombing. Congratulations. You got the attention you wanted. Now shut up and wait for the next episode of The Boys. So, very, very last thing, not even a topic, just honest, just statement that you'll find out one day will be true. Dune is going to suck. Sorry, guys. I don't know if you're excited about it or not. I don't know what your thoughts were or not. I don't know what you felt about the trailer. I don't even need to say the trailer to know Dune is going to suck. I would like to talk about the trailer. I'll probably talk about it a little bit on Thursday tomorrow. And Anna, if you want to cover it in the Matriarchy next week too, I don't want to.
I probably will. I haven't seen it yet, guys. So I think all of you guys know me and Peaches have been remodeling the house, and so he wanted to get it appraised to get the interest taken down, and so we had to do some last minute. We'll like finish up like certain because the remodel was done. We just had to like put the baseboards in around the house, get the lighting done. So I have been doing that. And so I'm running on like 1 hour of sleep right now. So I have all this news came out. I'm like, whenever I'm fucking free, nothing fucking happens. The second I get busy, the world loses its mind. Daisy really admits that there was no plan. The Dune trailer drops.
Oh god.
All of this shit is happening, and I'm like, I don't have time to do anything right now. And right now I have like 52 minutes until my stream starts with Drunk 3PO. I haven't eaten today at all. I've been holding in my pee for like an hour.
Dude, I've been holding my pizza. So clearly,
do you have any super chats?
Let me check. I think I might have one more or two more, maybe not even. Nope. We read them all. Super chats are caught up. Clearly, we didn't end the stream because you got shit to do. I got to pee too.
And thank you everyone for getting us to over 200 likes. Thank you. I've been dropping that in the chat. Like everyone, please smash the like button. You are amazing. And
next week on Anna's channel. Also, do you have a time yet for Friday for The Boys?
I think we said 5 p.m.
5 p.m. Yeah, we're gonna stick with 5. I like it. All right, so 5 p.m. That's Star Wars. Go make sure you're subbed to her links in the channel. Also, the link to her live channel is in the description here. If you miss any Matriarchies on her channel or any other live streams on Anna's channel,
yes, I re-upload everything to my secondary channel. Also, Jesse, I don't know if you know, I created a channel that I'm specifically going to be sharing my art on.
Oh, cool. I did not know that.
Yeah, so I already had an Instagram, but I created a YouTube and a Twitter because art videos do absolute shit on my channel because my channel was not designed for an art channel. So I started from scratch. I haven't uploaded anything yet, but all the drawings and paintings I've done on my channel, I'm going to re-edit them and then post them on my new art channel. And so I'm going to be posting all of my art content there. So everyone, if you haven't, please go subscribe to it. That's where it's going to start off with me re-uploading, but then Inktober is coming up and I'm planning, fingers crossed, that I'm able to get a video out every single day for Inktober, and I'll have everything filmed before. Do you guys want to see a sample before we go, Jesse? It's like 30 seconds.
Of course.
Okay, let me find where I have all of them.
If that's in the channel. If you're interested in art, definitely do that. If you're interested in my cat, go subscribe to Shit Pancake. What Shit Pancake get today? While you're bringing that up, I'll get him ready too.
Okay, so I'm going to give you an option. Do you guys want to see my sample of C-3PO, Qui-Gon, Thanos, or Yoda?
Ooh. I know what I want to see, but we'll let the chat digest that. In the meantime,
go pee while
you collect that
go
data.
pee while the chat votes. So 1 for C-3PO, 2 for Qui-Gon, 3 for Thanos, and 2 for Yoda. Just be aware though that Yoda is only it's not a complete art. It's my Yoda painting, but it only has part 1 and 2, so it's not going to be a finished piece at the end. Whereas C-3PO, Qui-Gon, and Thanos are. Okay, so I see Yoda's. Okay, remember 1 for C-3PO, 2 for Qui-Gon, 3 for Thanos, and 4 for Yoda. Okay, I see 2, which is Qui-Gon, then Qui-Gon, C-3PO. So I'm not. What these are is they're like less than a minute time-lapse videos with music. Freaking. Even Jeff is voting 3 for Thanos. bring me Thanos. So this is just going to be like less than a minute time lapse video. So what I'm planning on doing is releasing just the art breakdown video and then a faster time lapse. So if you just want to see it here, like listen to some nice music, and then like you have the fast video, and then you also have the more of a breakdown where I'm kind of explaining the process. So I see 1s, 4s, 3s, 4s, 3. Let's see. So I see C-3PO. So here's the thing. C-3PO is a drawing, Qui-Gon is a painting, Thanos is a drawing, Yoda is a painting. So maybe I could do Qui-Gon and Thanos. We'll ask Jesse. And hopefully Jesse gets back, and then Jesse can have the final say on it. And while she's doing that, I can go pee. Yeah. Oh, Jesse. Okay, so C-3PO is a drawing, Qui-Gon is a painting, Thanos is a drawing, and Yoda is a painting. So I'm going to go pee. You guys decide if you want to watch 1 or 2 and which ones you guys want to watch. I will be right back. My blood is about to explode.
I vote Thanos, and Jeff votes Thanos, so clearly the answer is Thanos.
You voted Thanos?
Yeah.
So did I.
I saw it. Just highlighted your chat. Of course I vote Thanos. I love Thanos. For the rest of you, though, in the meantime, she Pancake the cat's got a channel. He's my cat. I think I posted. Did I post the link already? Here's the link to She Pancake the cat. You should go subscribe to him, or as he says, you should subscribe. Where is he? He's right here, not looking. She Pancake. He's like, Mom, don't do the voice right now. I'm trying to nap. I don't like this voice when I'm napping. It's very annoying, even though it's my voice. It's very annoying. So that should be a gig there. And he has a channel. Jeff may or may not also be a part of this channel. So let me do this real quick while Anna's still peeing. That pee was glorious, by the way. I just wanted to let you guys know.
Oh my God, mine was too.
Oh, dude, isn't it amazing?
That's like one of the best feelings in the world is when you finally pee.
Oh, dude, it's so good. I was just a couple seconds of She Pancake while we were waiting for you. That was fun. I'm She Pancake, and this is my mama.
Hello.
So today we're going to talk about all the different jobs that I do, and starting with probably the most important one. So I'm a scientist, right, Papa?
That is correct. You are a very good scientist, She Pancake.
Thanks, Papa. So that's She Pancake the cat.
So I know you and Jeff want to see Thanos, so I'll bring that up. Is there where the hell is it? I don't want a Chrome tab. I don't know if it'll let me share audio on this, but
if it's a separate tab, like if it's not from the, well, it depends where it is. Let's find out.
It's not on YouTube. It's just on my.
It should automatically share the audio if it's a different application.
Okay, so here's the thing. I did this in 2 separate videos originally on my channel where it was I sketch it out, and then the next one is the colors. And so I don't know where any of my files are because this was actually edited on a different computer. So what I did was I just took my other art video and I just put them together and I made a time lapse. So this is Thanos. You guys ready?
Yes. That looks so cool.
I don't know if it's too fast or not.
I don't think so. I mean, it's for me as someone who isn't gonna have any idea what you're doing anyway. It's perfect. It's like the perfect pace for just like a regular person to be like, ooh, things fill in. I can see the process still, but it's like.
So then now I'm going in with grays, and then I'll go in with colors.
Someone who's like, I want to know exactly how you did that might want a little slower.
So that's why I'm going to have time lapse and the breakdown videos.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's so cool.
So that's Thanos.
That looks really, really good.
You want to see Qui-Gon real fast?
Also, can you put your link in the private chat so I can sub too?
Yeah. I think, let's see, where is it?
Should be in there somewhere.
There you go. So if you guys want to sub to my art channel, there's going to be this. And also I have a art Twitter. It's my pinned tweet on Twitter. And so that one, Tulip, come here. Tulip. She's being a butt. Freaking mosquito flying around my head and I wanted to die. Here we go. So this one is a painting. So I'll be posting these on Twitter. I'll be posting the time lapse on Twitter as well from my art. And then I also have an art Instagram where, so this is a very long process to paint when you do paintings. And so like each day I'll do a little time lapse of my progress of the day. So if you want to like inside before it gets finished and you want to see step by step before I make one big video, and then these, I always change my camera, or I zoom in so that way you could focus on certain areas. Like this is going to start off with me focusing on his eyes. So if you want to follow my art Instagram, it's just the art of Anna TSWG on Instagram. That's where you can get the faster time lapse. But you ready to watch Qui-Gon?
Yes.
And so this is supposed to be like from the Duel of the Fates part. And everyone knows this photo, but I think you're right. For people that don't like necessarily do art or know much about art, it's easier just to watch like a 30-second process.
Yeah, I think it's great that you have both, because it's like this is so fascinating because I can see everything that you're doing, but even if it went a little slower, it wouldn't add anything for me because I don't know or appreciate the technique as much, to that extent. Whereas your breakdown ones are great because people are really interested in art and the process and technique and maybe learning for themselves. You have both. I mean, I think it's great to have an art channel because why not both? It's perfect. And this one just looks so cool. I just love like watching the way the paint layers and blends and all that stuff. It's so neat. Side 79 says, how long did that take in real time?
So I try to do 2 hours a day. Sometimes if I have more time, I dedicate, an entire day. But so I painted Qui-Gon over the span of 3 months. But I think altogether that took me between 80 to 100 hours because sometimes I did have to repaint a certain, like on his, if my hand smudges something or something. Qui-Gon did take me longer because I focused in on more areas and then painting hair and lightsaber effects and stuff like that. And then there was like 2 weeks where I didn't have a chance to paint. And so it dried. So I had to paint an area because it had dried. But so that's the kind of stuff that's going to be on my art channel. If you haven't, I haven't posted anything yet because I want to have it scheduled and have things come out in a certain process. But when it's October, I don't know if you guys are aware, but there's this drawing thing called Inktober. And so the goal of it is for you to post a drawing every single day. And so I record my drawings. And so I want to have in Inktober where I post a video a day and it's just a time lapse of my drawing. That is so cool. I'll be following along. And then we'll be into November, which is my month, National Novel Writing Month. So I don't know. I haven't started. I'm starting to get the emails of like, hey, it's the fall. So usually like October 25th is when I actually decide what I'm going to write for the month of November. But it's a challenge to do 10,000 words in the month of November. And not 10,000, 50,000 easy. 50,000 words in the month of November. So yeah, cool. So you got your Inktober, and I have National Novel Writing Month. It'll be a creative fall for us. But yeah, whatchamacallit, Anna is an amazing artist. Someone was asking about a commission for something. I think if you want a commission from Anna, the biggest thing is not necessarily going to be the money, but the time. So yeah. So I mean, you do have to be aware that demand right now. I guess I could talk about. I've always had a job, but I don't talk about it too much because I don't want psychos to go and dox the people that I do contracted work for. But right now, I have a really big project that I'm working on, and I'm going to be basically not sleeping for the next month, starting from today because it starts today. So that's what I get to do between this and drunk stream, which I don't have very much time for anyways. But I am completely booked maybe until February or March. So if you want something drawn by Anna, wait. Basically, wait. But yeah. No, her art is incredible. I've always loved watching those videos. So I'm excited that you have a platform where I can just go watch all of those. That'll be great. You should make once a year, you should make a master compilation of every time lapse one you've done that year.
and like drop it at the end of the year. Like, Merry Christmas. You can watch
Oh,
me.
that's a really good idea.
That'd be so fun because then it's like the people love those long form video stuff. You can just either have on in the background or kind of tune out to, or like, you know, get stoned and stare at. I don't know what kids do these days. I'm sure somebody, if you do that and you make like you string all those like 30-second ones together. I would even slow them down a little for the long one and be like, all right, we like
yeah. That one. So I try to do it because so people have, basically if a person watches more than 30 seconds, then they're invested, and then they will watch a minute. And then if they watch a minute, they're more likely to watch 3 minutes. So those ones they're between 30 seconds to 1 minute long. Those ones that I showed you.
Perfect.
And so like, those are the things that with my art, Twitter, I'm going to be posting on Twitter and on Instagram. And I think the ones that I post on my channel, they'll be between a minute to a minute, or like the highest I'll be at is a minute and a half. The lowest I'll be at is 30 seconds, depending on what I feel like is the best pacing.
Yeah, which is awesome. And then, yeah, you string them all together at the end of the year.
And then let me just address this as well. Adam, I do not do action scenes. That is something that's going to take me a long time. The only things that I do that I'm willing to do is portraits, because that's what I enjoy doing. And that's, guys, here's one of the greatest things about being self-employed. You can specifically I am not doing spaceships. I'm not doing battle scenes. Fuck that shit. If you want that, I build a model in Moto or ZBrush. I am not painting that shit. That shit takes way too fucking long. I like portraits. That's what I like to do. But also, you guys, you got to remember, got work. I got YouTube. I got specifically contracted out projects that are not necessarily through my traditional work. And then I also am going to be coming out with an art book that's going to be on Indiegogo. So I am going to have that. I'm going to have to ship that, or order that, package that, ship that, and then after that, during that, I'm going to be writing and drawing my own comic on top of work, YouTube, and certain contracted things.
When you get your art book, if you ever want us to come down for a shipping party, we'll do that in exchange for you coming up here for one of Jeff's comics. Oh yeah, totally. Sit down, take a few hours, get some pizza.
You guys should come one of these weekends. I mean, we got the spare bedroom, but the house is like ridiculous right now. We will, for like, we had to like finish it's done for now until we start on the next project. But you guys should come see it.
Absolutely, I would absolutely love to. We would absolutely love to. We are definitely ending the stream now though, because you need to eat and get a million more things done.
Yes.
Stream with Drunk 3PR. So you can find me tomorrow, Thirsty Thursday. I've got to check in. We're supposed to be doing a double date with Mary Mayhem and Caffeinated Wolf. So her man Andrew. So that's supposed to be going down on Thirsty Thursday tomorrow. Check that out. If not,
I'm only 2 subs away from 400.
Woo! That's awesome.
If you guys haven't, if 2 people are in the chat that have it, go sub so I can get 400.
And while you're clicking links, go sub to Ship Pancake. He'll have a new video out tomorrow. And a million things going on, clearly for all of us. So sub to all of Anna's channels, follow her everywhere, do all that stuff. Sub to me, follow me everywhere. Follow Ship Pancake. He's on Twitter as well as YouTube. And any last words, Anna?
Thank you so much, everyone, for going over there and doing that. And thank you. I'm glad that everyone likes my art videos. That's why it's kind of, I always get like sad when I was Qui-Gon. Like I spent months on that and I was really proud of it. And it only got like 3,000 views. Whereas me getting pissed off at a Lower Decks gets like 40,000. And I'm like, God damn it. So that's why I'm like, I created this other platform so that way it's more focused so people know what they're getting on YouTube, gets that with the algorithm. But thank you so much, everyone. You guys are awesome. A lot of good topics today. This is like, I gotta say, Wednesdays, even though it's my busiest day of the week, it's my favorite.
It's so fun to do these. I always look forward to these streams, even if it's like, I have a quick turnaround between the lesson and this. It's still just like, once we get into it, the hectic, I got to do this, got to do that. And then once we're in here in the Matriarchy, this is like, it's just chill. It's just easy. It's fun. We have a great time. We got a great chat, and yeah, I mean, you and I never run out of things to talk about, but today, God, we could barely keep up. So, yep.
Thank you, everyone. We're excited about next week because then we're actually more excited on Friday. So Friday, Jesse and Jeff and Cecil are going to be on my channel to talk about The Boys, and then what else? I feel like something else is happening, Jesse, but I can't remember.
Football season starts this weekend. Woo!
Shoot me in the foot. Okay, so I guess I see this going around on Twitter. Apparently Jeremy did a car video that is epic as hell. So go check that one out because I watched a part of it and I was like, oh shit, I need popcorn. So go check that one out.
Excellent. Excellent. So 1,000,001 things to do, 1,000,001 things to watch. We will see you all back either on my channel for the Thirsty Thursday tomorrow, Anna's for the Jack Show, or on Friday on Anna's channel for The Boys. And that's the week. God, that's just the next 2 days. So, and
if you guys bother Jesse and Jeff enough to come visit me on the weekend, we could have like an in-person stream.
That's true too. That is very true. So yeah, awesome. Amazing stream. Thank you everyone for being here. Thanks for your impressions of the like button. We started an hour late, but we went an hour longer than we usually do. So you're welcome. And
sorry, that was 100% my fault. I was on a business phone call.
And then we were actually having a business meeting.
We were.
Really cool. Really top secret, really exciting. So that was, I was excited to do that. I was like, I don't care how long we spend on this. This looks so exciting. I'm privileged. I'm only gonna be a part of it because I'm the girlfriend. So that's the benefit.
And because you're an extremely important member of the Fandom Menace. But we're gonna keep talking if somebody doesn't stop us. So Jesse, just click the end button and we gotta go.
Good night, everybody. Goodbye.
Good night. May the force be with you because we are really gonna need it.